sharp. You're gonna need them for phase 2 of the ascent.
Don't save money by sitting in the nosebleeds. You could save hundreds by switching to Progressive. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-684-2297. 800-684-2297. 800-684-2297.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Beginning Tuesday, September 8th, watch DiPietro and Rothenberg and Don Hahn and Rosenberg live every day on the MSG Network. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome.
Yes, on a Friday, Carlin, ESPN New York, YouTube channel at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. The YouTube is in process of being hooked up there. We got a little technical glitch, but that'll be fixed here momentarily. Glad to have you with us as always. We've got preseason mercifully coming to an end tonight. We're only going to see, we believe, some of the Giants starters, maybe not so much on the Jet starters front, at least not Geno Smith. That, according to Brian Costello and some of the other reporters yesterday. We're going to hear from Rich Cimini later in the show. We're going to hear from Jordan Raanan later in the show. We will also, through the course of the show, we're going to answer some questions about the start of the NFL season that we actually need answers to. And at the beginning of the year, we're always wrong about somebody, right? We're always wrong about somebody. So who are we wrong about? We will ask these questions, and in just a few minutes, you're going to hear a soundbite that both will surprise you and not surprise you in the least. All of that is on the way at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. Let us continue to discuss the Yankees and the Red Sox, who are coming up this evening and beginning their series. And listen, for me, I look at where the Yankees are, even off the loss last night, and with the Red Sox coming in for 4, I told you a few weeks ago that this feels like we are kind of riding out the string right now with Boston and with the division and with the remainder of the regular season. The Yankees are going to be where they're going to be. And what that is at the moment is they are going to be a team that is a first wild card spot. They're not going to win a division, and they're going to have to deal with both Tampa and the Red Sox in whatever order you want in those first 2 rounds. I don't expect the Yankees to win the division, and I think it's kind of foolhardy to think that they will. And it's honestly, it's not that important right now. It's not that important. You want to make the case that it's important for them to win the division so that they only have to play one of those 2. That's fine. And you get the bye, fine. I don't buy any of it. I think the Yankees are either trustworthy in the postseason or they're not. And as I watch right now, last night was a little bit more back to what we've been used to, a team not scoring runs and errors that have cost them, and we'll get to that in a few minutes as well. I'm wondering if they're both a team that is a little bit better than what we have seen, yet at the same time not at all trustworthy. Why do I say that? Because the Yankees, believe it or not, right now, are 27-28 against teams that are over 500. 500 or better. 27-28. What? That is a staggering number for a team that is, 16, 17, 18 games over 500 for the season. And frankly, I think a team that we all universally acknowledge would be favored in virtually any series that they play in the American League because of their pitching. Yankees have a plus 100 differential in runs scored this year, in run differential. Plus 100. They've won 7 of 10. They're comfortably in this playoff position. But 27-28 is a number that bothers me. I'm not a big believer that a ton of what the regular season in baseball can tell you about what it's going to look like in the playoffs. But I'm starting to see through the course of the last 50 games or so, the same kinds of things that we've seen problems with before. The Yankees have pitching, and they probably have more than they've had in a long time, especially in the rotation, but they do not have enough hitting that is going to deliver when it matters the most. I spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Ben Rice, and he proved it again yesterday, just how important he is and how he's really become the second most important bat on this entire team, and no longer is a supporting character. He's a legitimate star. I mean, he made the All-Star team this year, but that really didn't cement it for me. The fact that we're sitting here at 35 home runs and 84 runs batted in the middle, into late August, that's going to settle it for me. That does more than enough to show me what he's about offensively. But I still don't trust them against really good teams, but more specifically against good pitching. So am I going to get answers this weekend? Like, am I going to come out of this thinking they beat 3 out of 4 with the Red Sox? Well, they're in great shape. Or they lose 3 out of 4 to the Red Sox and they're in bad shape. I'm not. I'm really not. It's going to come down to what those matchups look like in the playoffs. But when we're talking about a 55-game sample size against teams that are 500 or better, and you're only sitting there at 27-28 during that stretch, that has to tell me something, doesn't it? If this sounds familiar, I was saying something quite similar a couple of weeks ago when I said, hey, offensively, when we get to a 44-game stretch, don't you just become what you are? Don't you forget about what you want to try to sell yourself as, and then you are just what you are? Over a 45-game stretch, you're just not very good offensively, or not reliable enough offensively. YouTube link is up and working now, my friends. So get on board and come look at your boy. You're welcome. 800-919-3776. But my point simply about this is that when the Yankees are facing these good teams, and as bad of a draw as they are getting in an American League that is not that good, I mean, look at the other side, and you're not getting any one of those teams in the first couple of rounds, that's a rough break. So you have to now prove that you can beat these good teams. That doesn't start necessarily now. I don't buy into what we see in this last 4-game stretch against Boston before the playoffs into thinking, oh, okay, now we absolutely know that they can beat this team consistently. They're 4-4 against the Red Sox this year. They're 3-6 against Tampa. You're not going to tell me that they can't beat those teams in the playoffs. That's just not accurate. But that 27 and 28, that's going to bother me. Wouldn't it bother you when it's that big of a sample size against better teams? Now, we can always make the argument that good teams beat bad teams. And that's what they're supposed to do, and that's what the Yankees have done. Well, that's true. But what I would also tell you is that those good teams never think that way. The Yankees, when they were in their heyday, never thought that way. They just went out and beat anybody who was in front of them. It didn't matter who was in front of them. They worried a lot more about what they were doing themselves. The Yankees were playing themselves. They weren't worried about who the opponent was. They respected him, but that wasn't the ultimate decider of what they were going to be. These 4 games this weekend, they tell you something, but I pay more attention to things like Schlittler tonight. I pay more attention to individual situations this weekend than I do to the overall picture. Now, you don't want to go out and get swept, but I have to tell you, I mean, that's already happened in a 4-game series this year. That's not going to change how I feel, and it's not going to change how a lot of people feel. If the Yankees got swept by Boston this weekend at home, do we think that they would be underdogs against Boston? I think it would really have to fall apart down the stretch of the season for the Yankees to be underdogs against anybody in the American League. So these 4 games are important situationally. They are not important as to answer the question whether or not you can beat the Red Sox or you can beat the Rays. What you need to know is, in the most important spots, how are my guys going to perform, still without Judge on the field, and are we going to be able to erase that narrative a little bit of a team that is not very good against other good teams? What are you looking for this weekend from the Yankees against the Sox? At 800-919-3776, that is my question to you. Get involved in the ESPN New York chat on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, which is up and running. Right out of the gate. 523JB. Chris looking very good today. Oh, looking great, in fact. You're welcome. I put a lot of effort into this. Let's get to some other important things as well. But I mentioned it a few minutes ago. A soundbite that you really need to hear, and it is Kevin Durant. So, as we know, Kevin Durant has this business venture called The Boardroom, and it is basically a mouthpiece for sports and entertainment personalities to not have to deal with actual tough questions or anything like that. A mouthpiece isn't the right word. It's their way to express what they want to express without having to deal with the interviews themselves. It's so many athletes and entertainment personalities we've seen, they go around the media now and they just speak to people directly because that allows them to convey the messages that they want to convey. So, Ray, if you have it, I would like to play the soundbite of Kevin Durant on one of the Boardroom's podcasts, and he is asked by the co-host about Jalen Brunson and Jalen Brunson's sacrifice on the $100 million front from the contract last year. Take a listen.
Brunson famously turned down 100.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Would you do that?
I mean, I don't think I would be advised to do that. I mean, I already got talked out of it. I probably would have been like, all right, I'm cool with it. And then I'd have sat down and talked to all my people like I usually do, Rich, all my friends, and everything. Like, what, are you serious? Why do you need to take that risk when this dude's a billionaire? Nobody would do that. Seriously.
He's the only
if you just
person.
throw that out on the table and say, right now, make a choice, nobody would turn that down. But if you sat down and thought about it and they put everything on the table to him and this will happen in 4 years if you do this, and this how you can make this. This how the team could be built. We could for sure win a chip. It sounds good when you sell it to somebody that way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it happened like that.
For sure, but they still win the chip. Is he ever really going to recoup 100? Like, I don't know the answer to that.
There's always going to be 100 that you don't have. Like you could have had. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even if you get it back, it's like, well, I still could have had an extra 100 too, even if you give me 100 again.
Yeah. I think that pretty much says everything, doesn't it? Now, listen, let's get a couple of things straight. It's going to end up being closer to 70 than 100 when you look at overall what happened. He signed the 4-year deal instead of the 5-year deal, so some of that comes back. But this tells you everything you need to know about Durant at this point, and about why the Knicks are what they are, or why Jalen Brunson is what he is, and why Kevin Durant is what he is. Kevin Durant's an all-time great player. There's no getting around that. But doesn't that tell you everything? He went to Golden State. It was not a take a big discount situation, if you'll remember, to go to Golden State. He got the money that he needed to get there. He got the money in every situation he needed to get it in. He got it in Brooklyn when he felt like there was so much pressure for him to go and try to build a winner on his own and be the centerpiece of that. And that was obviously an unmitigated disaster. So now Kevin Durant is saying to Jalen Brunson to give up $100 million. No, nobody would ever do that. If you did notice, there was a very subtle moment in the middle of it. And that subtle moment was Durant kind of considering at the beginning, $100 million, will I give that up? No. Well, you know what? I might, but then my people would talk me out of it. In other words, let me let everybody else take the hit on this who's around me, because that's what they're there for. They're there to shield me. But even so, he couldn't hide it very well. And even if you go with the argument that you can make up that extra 70 to 100 million somewhere else, Durant's point is always going to be, well, that's always an extra 70 or 100 I could have had. This is why Durant who he is, and why Brunson is who he is. That speaks volumes. I think Durant is an amazing player, but the level of delusion that he has been at in his career by not recognizing, I'm not saying everybody has to take less dollars in order to go to situations to win, but when it really, truly is that important to you, and a team can sell you on the notion of, hey, these are the guys that we can go somewhere else and get, and we can get them to help us go win a championship. Okay, so if that's the case, and you're not willing to take less in order to win a championship, or you feel like you haven't gotten enough yet, or you're not going to bet on yourself, so to speak, which in a lot of times it's not even necessarily betting on yourself. It's betting on the guys around you and the guys that you're being sold on to go and help you get that extra money some down the line when you do win a championship, like clearly Brunson is going to make up. But that Durant money, or that Durant comment, just it really drives home the point that Kevin Durant has always wanted to be the best player in the league, has always wanted to be LeBron, has always wanted to be, and LeBron's not even a guy that's ever left money on the table up until this year, but he has always wanted to be in that upper echelon of winners. And this is why he's not. This is why he's not. It's never been about taking $1 less, and I won't sit here and tell you that I would take $1 less. I won't sit here and tell you that I would have the drive that Brunson did to take 100 million less or 70 million less. That most people wouldn't. And I think most people are kind of lying to ourselves if we tell people that we would. But what I would also say to you is, when you have somebody who's willing to do that, you understand what their commitment level is to winning. It's an easy comparison to make. But this is why Durant, even if he wants to be viewed as one of the all-time great players, will only be viewed that way in his skill set and what he meant, not to individual teams' success, but more to himself and what he would, how am I trying to phrase this? The individual accomplishments and how he is viewed was always more important to Durant than anything else. And what the money was going to be was always more important, because comments like this prove that. It's easy for me to point to Tom Brady. We're going to point to Tom Brady for a moment. All right? Could argue that Tom Brady, well, he's married to Gisele Bündchen, who had more than enough money at the time, and he could afford to take less money from the Patriots in order to leave more money to go and get other players. He still did it. And according to Durant's argument, well, it's still that extra money, whatever it is, year to year. And Brady, in his career, left over $100 million on the table as a player to go and make it up somewhere else eventually. Well, it's still the money you wouldn't have had. All right. Do you think that Brady, if he doesn't go and win 7 championships and become universally recognized as the all-time greatest quarterback and greatest player because of the team accomplishments, do you think that Brady gets $37.5 million a year from Fox to be their number one analyst? He would have gotten a lot if he had won 1 or 2 championships, but he wouldn't have gotten $37.5 million. No, he wouldn't have gotten that level of money. So yeah, you do make it up later. You worry about that kind of stuff later if your number one goal is just a flat-out win right away. And this speaks to me why Durant's on the court when it comes to winning basketball championships. Durant's not a winner. He went and did it where it was as easy as possible, a team that had already won a title, and joined them. And he was the best player on the team when he was there. That's great. They won with him, or they won without him, then they won with him, and then they won without him again. They didn't need him to have the level of success that they did. Durant needed them a lot more. Didn't need him a lot more to the point where he was going to take less money there. He didn't do that. So what exactly are we talking about here? That comment from Durant, it just tells me everything I need to know about him, and more so, just how fortunate we are to have seen a player like Jalen Brunson come to New York and develop into what he has. And the Knicks were universally panned for making him a priority, making him the guy that was going to be at the center of their plan for winning a championship. Now, they never expected it to be this either, but they were paying for overpaying him at 4 years at $106 million or whatever it was, $26 million a year. They were getting destroyed for that. And now you see just how fortunate we have been to have this kind of a player, because they don't come along very often. They don't come along very often. I don't know if he's going to go on and win multiple championships with the Knicks. I do know that this one particular title for Jalen Brunson ends up meaning more to his legacy than other titles mean for other players. You can give me Jalen Brunson's 1 championship over Durant's 2, because Durant's 2 don't mean a damn thing, comparatively speaking. One guy ended a stretch of 53 years without a championship in the biggest city in the world, and one guy took the easy way out. Took the easier way out than even LeBron did when he went to Miami. So that, if you don't see how that works, if you're Durant and you don't recognize that, dude, you're just You have a remarkable lack of self-awareness in all of this. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. We have some preseason football tonight. It sounds like the Jets are not going to play, at the very least, Geno Smith, and who knows how many of their starters. Sounds like the Giants are going to play some of their starters for a little bit at least. We're going to talk to Rich Cimini. We're going to talk to Jordan Raanan. We're going to talk to you. We're going to get your comments in from the ESPN New York YouTube chat, which is open right now. As I said earlier, the ESPN YouTube link is up so you can watch the show. You're fortunate there, but it also gives you a chance to participate even quicker. We will get those in shortly. What are you expecting this weekend from Yankees-Red Sox? Does this weekend truly concern you about trying to get a feel for what that's going to look like if that definitively is the first matchup in the postseason? Are you going to learn a lot this weekend? If the Yankees get smacked around again, are you going to be worried? 800-919-3776. Carlin on this Friday, just getting started. Get on board, people. Lines are open right now. Let's go on ESPN New York.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
In New Jersey, quite a backup on South 440 where it turns into 287 North by the Turnpike in Woodbridge, Edison. It's an accident involving an overturned truck possibly that's causing some big backups there north of the Garden State Parkway on 440 up toward 287. Elsewhere, we've got Jackie Robinson Parkway, eastbound side with a crash by Woodhaven Boulevard. And on the Belt Parkway, eastbound accident blocking one lane by Pennsylvania Avenue. Westchester County, northbound New England Thruway, it's a vehicle fire. Exit 18A at Fenimore Road. Service not running in the Rockaways because of problems with the South Channel Bridge. I'm Bob Williams on 880 ESPN New York.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now, or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate save real estate too. Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking from Rings End. Picture this, a deck that's the highlight of your backyard, turning heads season after season. Now, imagine 20, 30 years later. It's still going strong. And here's the best part. You haven't spent a moment sanding, staining, or sealing it. Visit your local Rings End for the stunning real wood looks of TimberTech decking, paired with the kind of durability that only advanced engineering can deliver. Backed by industry-leading warranties, TimberTech is the decking that performs for decades. Ask for it locally at Rings End.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. New episodes available now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering buy one, get one 40% off windows and doors and no payments, no interest for 24 months. Some restrictions may apply. See local showroom for details. Offer ends August 31st, 2026.
Situation in this chat on Friday. Weird situation in the ESPN New York YouTube chat. Get involved there. Go over, watch the show. Back-to-back comments right here. I don't know what to do with this exactly, so maybe you can help me. CJ Skybox, who's become one of our favorites lately, chiming in with, I'm glad YouTube is up and running after some early little glitches. Chef is my favorite freshly peeled potato. I've been told I look like a thumb. I don't think I've ever gotten potato before. Potato? Joe Leo, potato? Is that? I'm not hurt emotionally or anything by it. Do I have a resemblance to a potato?
Maybe if you were a little bit more tan than you are right now, I could.
Oh, no, but this says freshly peeled potato.
Yeah, I don't get potato.
Okay. I mean, I am that shade of white. Maybe that's what he's referencing. I don't know. But then follow that up with this. Jeff Work, 32. If I was a billionaire, I would hire Carlin for a weekend, and I would eat a $1,000 filet mignon meal on his polished, bald head. I'm sorry, what?
How much money are we talking? If you were a billionaire, how much money?
What would be my price for somebody to eat that, a filet mignon, a $1,000 filet mignon off my polished, bald head? Well, I have a couple of questions. Number one, are you cutting it up on my head? Like, is it possible I'm going to get some slices on my head, or is it already kind of cut up like they do at some steakhouses? You know, they just put those pieces on there. Because I don't want to, this dome is quite sensitive to any kind of, to sunlight, to any kind of scratch or anything. Like, it just turns into a whole mess. What would my price be to eat an entire filet mignon meal off the top of my head? That includes the sides as well when he says meal. I mean, listen, I'd have to say my price for that is at least $1 million. It's got to be at least $1 million. Joe Leo, am I overshooting it at that point?
No, I don't think so.
Listen, I'm not 23 anymore. I have to think about getting to retirement.
But this is a billionaire. So $1 million, I think you're selling yourself a little short.
But I also, you can't, there's always somebody out there willing to do it for less. Right? So what other bald sports personality, Like Sal Licata's out there, and he'll do it for less. It might not be as entertaining as it would be with me, but Sal will do it. I don't want to put a price on what Sal would do it for, but he'll do it for less. Brandon Tierney wouldn't do it. Peter Rosenberg, would he do it? Like, Peter would not settle for less than 10 to 15 million.
Yeah, you'd do it for less than Peter would.
I would definitely do it for less than Peter would, because Peter's got an inflated sense of self.
And a newborn.
Mainly one that is false, as shown by the fact that he started a podcast called Validate Me. Listen, I know what I am, but I don't want to get shortchanged in this. I think that number's... Is that a big enough ask that I never have to work again, Joe Leo? I don't think that's it.
I would say, and now I don't have a bald head, but I would say anywhere from 3 to 5 million would be the starting price.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good number. It's got to be. You're right. It's got to be more than $1 million. Is it tax-free $1 million? Like, what are we talking about the implications of that? But I have to say, it's certainly not a discussion that I woke up this morning thinking that we were going to have, but that's why the chat is just freaking brilliant on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Priyo Osabe checking in. KD is too much antenna ears, like rabbit ears. In other words, he hears everything. That's 100% true. Let's get to the calls. Dylan is up first on ESPN New York vis-a-vis Mr. Durant and the $100 million. What's up, Dylan? How you doing, bud?
Hey, good morning, man. How you doing?
Dylan, first question. You're a billionaire. How much are you paying me so that you could eat $1,000 filet meal off my bald head?
Billionaire, money's not an object, not a problem. I'd probably say, knowing you and your status, I don't know, probably $10 million.
Wow, I'm flattered. That's a good number. That's a good number. That's good to know. We're not at all diving into the fact that a billionaire's first priority would be to eat a filet mignon off my head.
Right.
That's like something from Brewster's Millions, if you ever saw that movie, where he had to spend $10 million or whatever, $100 million it was in a month, but have nothing to show for it. Anyway, go ahead, Dylan. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. No, it was a funny conversation. But, yeah, so the $100 million thing, so people think, but, it's $100 million. You could have had this and that. Look, perfect point. I've been talking about this with friends of mine for a while, and you brought it up perfectly, whereas Brady gave up, collectively $100 million. Brunson still has a whole career ahead of him, and he's already given up $100 million. So you imagine how much more he'll give up in order to win, right? But the point is Brady got it back later in life as an announcer, right? Mm-hmm. Brunson's going to get it back. Oh, my God, you can't even imagine, because of, like you said, the weight of the championship matters, and where he won matters.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of these things that come into play, not just it being the Knicks and everything, but Brunson's connection with the Knicks. You have his father who played for the Knicks, who's a coach on the Knicks' staff. Leon Rose, his father didn't even hold him when he was first born. Leon Rose did. So obviously that matters too, but I'm just saying in general, that to me shows the status and the Hall of Fame status type of player going forward in their future, because when they're willing to give up that much to win, that's the kind of person that's doing it because they love the game and they know that the money will come back. You can make and lose money every day, but winning a championship like that sometimes is once in a lifetime, and you can't put a price on that.
Well, Dylan, appreciate the call, and you make that money back when you do something special, and I'm not going to equate winning one championship with the Knicks to 7 championships in the NFL in the Super Bowl era as the greatest quarterback of all time, but I will equate it to other championships that have been won elsewhere. Like Brunson's championship to me means more than any of the LeBron, with one exception. The Cleveland championship is the only one to me that is on the same level as Brunson's Knicks championship. And that's primarily because you went to Miami. Many people, including myself at the time, thought that it was the easy way out. And then you went on and won a championship with the Lakers in summer camp. where everybody was just around and doing nothing but playing basketball, hanging out in a hotel. And I know mentally that was tough and all that, but it was a summer camp championship. Let's be clear about that. Nate in Queens is next, ESPN New York. Nate, how you doing, big cat?
What's going on? Before I get into my point, I have a story for you now that you brought up Tom Brady. Are you ready for a story?
Please.
Are you familiar with said Fanatics Fest?
Yes.
So I worked it with my boy, Mendy Stahl from Rip It Co. He's in Cedarhurst. We worked it. We killed it. We were the best booth there. That's not my point. My point is, I befriended 2 officers at this event. These 2 officers just so happened to be Tom Brady's personal detail throughout the whole event. Tom Brady's there 12 hours a day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, he got out of there early to go to MetLife Stadium, all right? These officers tell me, Tom Brady, not once did he look in their direction, never a head nod, never a, hey, boys, thanks for putting your life at risk to protect me. My name's Tom. How you guys doing today? Not a smile, not a word. That is Tom Brady. That is who he is. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, listen, you don't love hearing stories like that, but I think that when you see how much people demand time of guys like that, like I'm going to take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but I understand what you're saying.
Dude.
Like,
12 hours
listen,
a day,
I won't sit there and tell you that there
him.
are not people that absolutely act like that and act like jerks and are not thankful for all those kinds of things. But I also don't want to go, no offense, on the word necessarily of anybody else
I got you.
who may not be happy
story,
with
though. You don't have to believe
anyway,
me. It's a true story.
No, I'm not saying it's not true.
All right.
I'm not saying it's not true.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I always try to rate those things off of my own individual interactions or people that I trust that I know. But anyway, I get it. If
all right.
Like, if all that, listen, that's not an ideal scenario. Of course not. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. George Lombard Jr.
Oh,
what do you think of him? I think he's a freaking star. I think he's a star.
I think he's made errors in 6 consecutive games, bud.
That's true. Do you think he's going to be a star, though?
Listen, I would like to think he's going to be a pretty good player, and thanks for the call. I don't know if he's going to be a star yet. They told me Anthony Volpe was going to be a star. This error streak thing, dude, what's going on here? Okay. I was saying a few weeks ago, like, there's no reason to play anybody else if he doesn't hit, because if he was going to defend like he was when he first came up for those first couple weeks, there's nothing to talk about. Like, that's what I need from you, and anything I get beyond that is certainly gravy. But now we've got 6 straight games, and now what's pretty clear is he's in his head a little bit defensively about what's going on. He's absolutely in his head. So I will also give that a little bit of a grain of salt there too, and recognize that he's a young player who clearly just needs to clear his head. And once you make a mistake and you don't get past it, then you make the next one and the next one and the next one. And that's what I think is going on right now. But one thing is clear to me. The Yankees cannot put themselves in a position once we get to the playoffs where they are giving anybody else extra outs. They can't level the playing field with teams that are not as good as them. I don't think the Red Sox are as good as they are. I think in the grand scheme, even though the record says otherwise at the moment, I don't think the Rays are as good as they are. And I don't want to give them a chance to level the playing field by giving them extra outs. And I certainly can't give extra outs to teams that are really, really, really good teams. Carlin, ESPN New York, 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. I need an answer. What does that even mean? You'll find out next.
Hey, Yankees and Knicks fans. Come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday, September 25th, and be ready to receive a very special giveaway. It's Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines. The first 18,000 guests will receive a Josh Hart Yankees bobblehead. Again, don't miss Josh Hart Yankees bobblehead night presented by Delta Airlines when the Yankees face the Orioles on Friday, September 25th. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets.
Calling hard seltzer lovers. Searching for the tastiest seltzer? Look no further. Neutral Vodka Seltzer is absolutely delicious. Made with real vodka and real juice, Neutral keeps it tasty with every sip. With flavors like peach, orange, strawberry, and pineapple, there's something for everyone. Neutral. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026 Anheuser-Busch. Neutral flavored vodka and carbonation. 4.5% alcohol by volume. St. Louis, Missouri.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Winning football teams have a playbook. Winning businesses? They've got Robert Half. Because when your star player's out or the workload blitzes, you need the right move fast. That's where Robert Half's specialized recruiters, together with their award-winning AI technology, step in, matching companies with skilled contract talent across finance, tech, legal, and more. It's depth on your bench. It's keeping the drive alive. Visit roberthalf.com/talent. At Robert Half, we know talent.
Kenny here to help you get in on the sweet life with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. It's that classic throwback cotton candy flavor, but with 0 sugar and a 5-hour energy boost. I keep these with me so I can tackle that sweet tooth with a tasty caffeine kick and no guilty sugary aftermath. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 28th through September 9th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
That pallet of pavers collecting dust? The beginnings of a garden? Those stray fence posts? Are you haunted by half-finished projects on your land? John Deere is here to say, not anymore. Our compact tractors allow you to swap implements easily, and they're backed by the nation's largest dealer network. You always had the right idea, and with the right tools, those projects can get finished for good. Nothing runs like a Deere. Learn more at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Carlin, ESPN New York, 800-919-3776. Jets and Giants tonight. We're going to spend time on that game with Rich Cimini at the top of the hour and with Jordan Raanan at noon. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't taxing Jordan too much. I did text him this morning and said, listen, I know it's a lot to have to do the game tonight, and that's why you bailed out of doing the morning show. But if it's not too much, can we ask you to come on for a few minutes today? And he has graciously agreed to do that. So we're not going to be taxing Jordan too much. I know that you are happy to hear that. It was a primary concern for you, as it should be. At 800-919-3776. Okay. I need an answer. What does this mean?
Answer it!
That's right. Answer it is right. We are coming up on the start of the NFL season, and we are coming up on the postseason for baseball. we're a month and a half out from baseball postseason, or less than that. And we're 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. In fact, even less than that with the Wednesday night game. I need an answer before we get started with these things on a few different topics. Ray Danahan has cobbled together a list of things where he wants an answer. And we'll see if we can give it to him. Ray, what do you need answered? Let's go.
That's right, Chris.
Answer it!
The Jets. Once you get past Garrett Wilson, who is the player on their offense that most worries the opposing defenses?
Okay, so right now, the answer to that is Breece Hall. Right now. If I'm going to look at that picture in the bigger, the bigger picture, so to speak, or if I'm going to look at that in the bigger picture later in the year, who's going to be the bigger concern? At some point, if the dude can be healthy, I think Kenyon Sadiq is that player long-term to really be a matchup nightmare for other teams. Right now, the answer is Breece Hall behind Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson is going to get a ton of attention, and teams are going to make Adonai Mitchell and teams are going to make Omar Cooper Jr. prove themselves as real legitimate secondary weapon threats overall on that Jet offense. What say you?
I think that actually Garrett Wilson might be the second, and Breece Hall may be the one that opposing defenses are most worried about, in that while Garrett Wilson will keep the chains moving, Breece Hall is that home run that you have to worry about.
That's interesting. I get the point. Wilson's still a big threat. I'm a big Breece Hall believer. He can be a home run threat, but what is it all going to look like back here healthy? I would still say Garrett Wilson is probably circled first, but I understand the argument. All right, next.
Moving on to the other team that plays out at the lovely MetLife Stadium that people can watch tonight, 7:30 kickoff. The Giants. Will Jackson Dart start 17 games?
Answer it! Will Jackson Dart start 17 games? No. But I will say it's not a number that's an alarming number. It's not a number that's like 10, 11, 12. I'm going to say Jackson Dart starts 15 games this year. It's still a case of, while he will mature, he's going to take plenty of hits. And as much as it annoys him that he ends up in the blue tent every time he seemingly gets a hit, there's a reason for that. So I do believe that Jackson Dart, just out of an abundance of caution with what is the concussion rules and protocols this year, will probably miss 2 games. But even if he doesn't have a concussion and he's just showing signs of it, I do think the Giants are going to be extra cautious with him. So I say that he does not start 17 games. What about you?
I don't think he starts 17 because they'll have the playoffs locked up. No, I don't think he'll play 17 for the same reasons, that there's going to be that one time where he takes the hit that it's going to be a Jameis week.
Okay, next.
Moving on to another young star budding in this town, George Lombard Jr. Can he play reliable defense in the postseason where every run counts?
God. 6 errors in 6 games. Here's why I'm worried. Here's why I would say Caballero. I would say that when you have a kid going through this kind of a stretch, that it takes a while for them to build up that mental fortitude of the major league level that you need to have to get past your mistakes and to move on to the next play. So I would argue at the moment that it is problematic with Lombard having this kind of a slump right now. I am legitimately concerned about Lombard in the postseason. And if you ask me at the moment, I might say Caballero's your guy. I'm not going to say that it's time for Anthony Volpe to come back. I'm not going to do that as of yet. But I would say I think there's a good chance Caballero's a shortstop. What about you?
And we also had a note on one of our hot lists here at ESPN that George Lombard Jr., the first Yankee with an error in 6 straight games since 1921.
Oh, my God. 105 years. Who was that? Don't even tell me. I don't care.
No, I don't even.
That's a guy who played 105 years ago.
Yeah,
when they barely called errors. Oh my God. They hadn't even fully defined what an error was yet at that point. It has been a brutal stretch for him over the last 6 games. And I hope he gets it straightened out, because it is a few weeks ago when he came up. I don't care about what the offense is. And, the offense, he did hit last night, but overall has not been amazing so far.
That said, I'm still starting him at shortstop in the postseason.
Okay, you're showing the faith in him, so you're willing to give away outs. Good for you.
That's right.
Next.
The offense will come around. Yankees, can they be at the same time better than their record says, but still less trustworthy when the playoffs roll around?
Answer it! Better than what their record says, but less trustworthy in the postseason. Yeah. I think that's absolutely true, because I'm sitting here telling you that I believe that the Yankees are still a better team than the Rays, and the Rays have the better record, so obviously I'm saying it at that point, but less trustworthy in the postseason. I'm still bothered by the offense and the ability for good pitching to shut it down. Even with Judge back, I'm still bothered by that. So if the Yankees are going to I don't know that they're going to get out-pitched, but I could see the Yankees losing 2-1 games in the playoffs only because their offense is not good enough to score runs against really good pitching. And you're going to see really good pitching in the playoffs. Yeah, I think that's 100% true. What do you think?
I think there's every reason to not believe in the Yankees offense, but at the same time, when it comes to the Yankees bullpen, there was a team that won the World Series last year that had a shaky bullpen going in and relied on resting their starters more during the regular season so that they could perform in the postseason.
All right, that's a fair point. And we are also looking at the Yankees and saying, when you say they're starters, you're talking about not just the rotation. You're obviously talking about players day to day to get them ready as well. The Yankees have to be as fresh as possible, but there is something to be said if the pitching is back, and it sounds like Fried could still potentially start one of those games tomorrow. If the pitching is back, the Yankees, if they got Clark Schmidt back, they could move some of these guys out to the pen. I don't know if we're going to have Weathers back in time to do that, but that would strengthen them as well. All right, Carlin, ESPN New York, 800-919-3776. What to expect from the Jets, even though we don't have starters? And is this enough reps for Geno Smith already with an offense that he just joined? It's all on the way. Next on ESPN New York.
If you're living with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, migraines, nerve pain, or chronic joint pain, you don't have to just live with it. I'm Michael Kay. I want to introduce you to Dr. Jay Shah at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shah is Ivy League trained, double board certified, and specializes in non-surgical, image-guided treatments that help get to the source of your pain. With convenient offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Englewood, expert care is never far away. So if pain is keeping you from doing the things that you love this summer, take the first step toward relief. Visit SandwellPain.com to book your appointment online.
Tricon Construction is growing across New Jersey, delivering larger, more complex commercial projects with the precision today's developers expect. Because when the timelines, capital, and reputation are all on the line, you need more than a contractor. You need a true construction partner. Tricon brings experienced leadership, disciplined project management, and a team built around accountability and execution. From planning to completion, they build with purpose, professionalism, and pride. For serious commercial projects, build with Tricon. Visit triconbuilds.com. That's triconbuilds.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
The U.S. Open Tennis Championships are underway, and you can still get in on the excitement. Grab a $30 grounds pass for the Finals Fan Fest, September 12th and 13th in Louis Armstrong Stadium. Experience celebrity arrivals and star-studded viewing parties, hosted by actress and comedian Yvonne Orji and The Bachelor's Joey Grazadeh. Plus, live DJ sets from Tinks, Lucas, and Summer House's Kyle Cook. Get tickets now at usopen.org.
Progressive presents the Passionate Sports Fan Checklist. Signed jersey of your favorite bench warmer? Check. 14 bobbleheads that look nothing like the players they're emulating? Check. Twin TVs so you can watch the game on 2 different networks simultaneously? Check. Life-size wall sticker of your favorite player that routinely freaks you out at night? Check. A second life-size wall sticker so after the first one freaks you out, you see the second and you're like, oh right, the wall stickers. Check and mate. Bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive and save on protection for the things on your checklist. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers not available in all states or situations covered subject to policy terms.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
Congratulations to the New York Knicks. They are the 2026 NBA champions. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome.
I cannot get out of my own way here. It's Carlin, ESPN New York, and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, I have become one of these people with the water bottle. And I couldn't stand these people, but now I'm one of them. And I just went to just get a drink from it during the break, and I still spill it all over my shirt. It's just water. Trying to sip water, how do I spill that? Am I 5? This is basically an adult sippy cup, and this happens. Like, I'm just a complete idiot, and I can't even stand the idea that I'm now one of these people that is going to be carrying water bottles. I got to be hydrated. Do you know how much water it takes to hydrate this whole operation over here? About 45 gallons a day. You want to lug that around? I don't think so. 800-919-3776. Let's get into some Jets. Rich Cimini joins us, Jets and Giants, tonight at MetLife Stadium. You're not one of these people that carries around a water bottle, are you?
No, I'm not a water bottle carrying person. Are you, Chris?
Well, I'm like now becoming one. Like my wife last week said, hey, it'd probably be good if you started doing this. And so I went out to like Target and picked up a couple. All right, I'm not averse to drinking water. I'm not somebody that has to drink a ton of soda. But Rich, I don't need to be hydrated all the time. But now it's like an adult sippy cup, and I can't even drink water out of it without spilling it all over myself. I'm a complete mess.
Well, these are first world problems, I guess. But I don't have a bottle per se, but I will drink water out of the bottle, but yes. I don't have a designated bottle that I take with me.
Well, thank you for making me feel guilty, Rich, that other people's problems are much bigger than my own. I appreciate that.
Okay.
It drives home that message that I got from my parents very young. You're really not that important. Thank you very much. Speaking of not very important, let's talk about some preseason football with the Jets tonight. Are we just looking at Geno being the guy that doesn't play, or do we get the sense that a lot of the starters are not going to be playing tonight?
No, I don't think the starters are not going to play tonight. Geno Smith is not going to play, and most of the starters won't play. You might see a younger guy or a guy like Dane Belton and Andre Sisco who are battling for a safety job. Maybe they get in, but the bulk of the starters won't play. this game is about evaluating the final few spots of the roster. We all know the cuts are by 6 o'clock on Sunday, so there's a lot of work to be done over the next 48 hours. I'm sure they, out of the 53 spots, I bet you like 48 or 49 are pretty much locked up. You know, they're battling for those last few spots. They're battling for practice squad positions, and they're also they're scouting around the league, looking for potential waiver wire pickups as we get closer to the cut-down day.
Okay, having said that, with Gino, considering he's just coming over, considering all of this, and Aaron Glenn made the comment a few weeks ago that he likes for those guys to get 20 to 30 snaps in the preseason. That's not exactly what Gino has gotten so far. So is there, concern's not the word, but is there any eye-opening aspect of the fact that he will have played one series in the preseason, in a preseason game?
No, it was 10 snaps. So, yeah, obviously he came up well short of the mark that he was looking for. But the rest of the starters played about that amount. So, Gino looked exceptionally sharp last week against Pittsburgh. He's played a lot of football this summer. He did not miss a practice. He practiced every day and got a ton of reps on the practice field. I have no issues with resting him tonight. I don't really, especially since he's had kind of a minor ankle injury he's been dealing with. So I think he'll be ready to go. They have some practices next week. I think they practice Monday and Wednesday, then they go away for the bye week, and then they come back and start preparing for Tennessee. I think he'll be ready to go for Tennessee.
Rich Cimini covering the Jets for ESPN NFL Nation. The Jets offense as a whole, is it where they would want it to be to start a regular season?
I mean, they missed having Breece Hall. I mean, they wish Breece Hall were healthy. They wish Kenyon Sadiq were healthy. That's probably the biggest negative. It's no fault of anybody's, but they didn't have Kenyon Sadiq for basically the entire training camp. And I know for a fact that he was going to be a major part of this offense early in the year. And of course, Frank Reich comes out a few days ago and acknowledges kind of the obvious, but that Sadiq won't have a major role. They'll have to bring him along slowly as he gets up to speed. I think he'll be practicing very shortly, but so that's probably the biggest negative. And then Breece Hall missing some practices. He looks okay. I saw him running off to the side. He'll be ready to go for Tennessee. But in just terms of production and efficiency, I thought the first team offense, even though they didn't play a lot in the preseason, they did what they had to do. The drive last week was really sharp, the 10-play drive. The running game was not good last week. Aaron Glenn had said that after the game. But, there's so many factors. Maybe they're not scheming up certain runs. Pittsburgh was doing certain things on defense to stop the run. So I think the offense is in a pretty good place as they get ready to go.
What do you expect? Is the identity of this offense going to be Breece Hall than everything else?
Well, I definitely think they want to feed off the run. That's what they do best. They were 10th in rushing last year with the three guys. Of course, they didn't have Braylon Allen last year for most of the year, but now he's back. So you got a two-man running back committee there. I think Isaiah Davis will eventually be part of that committee, but he's coming off a knee injury, so it may take a couple of weeks. Run the ball, use play action, got to take the pressure off Geno Smith. He's not the kind of quarterback you want throwing 35 or 40 times a game. We know he has a high interception rate over his last few years. He led the league last year in picks, so you don't want to put that kind of pressure on him. You really want to run the ball. I think he'll try to spread it around a lot. You saw that last week in Pittsburgh. And I think, of course, Garrett Wilson will be the focal point, but I do think he really wants to try to spread the ball around evenly.
Rich Cimini is with us, ESPN NFL Nation, covering the Jets. Okay, defensively, Aaron Glenn calling the plays now. He never had what you would call a dominant defense in Detroit. How much is a fair expectation of an improvement from them this year, especially when they've a little bit changed who they are from a personnel perspective by bringing in bigger guys like T'Vondre Sweat?
Yeah, I think it'll be 6 new starters, if my math is correct, coming into this year. And the whole Glenn thing is very intriguing. Calling the plays again, He did it a couple of years ago in Detroit, and you're right. They weren't dominant, but they had a ton of injuries, and I thought he did a good job with all the revolving doors that he was dealing with in Detroit. And they will be very aggressive. They will blitz a lot. They will play a lot of man coverage, and that's just his DNA as a coach. So he will be very aggressive. You'll see that. I do have some concerns in the secondary. I think that's a major question mark for the team, all across the board. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick will be okay, but the other spots in the secondary, to me, are question marks. And so can you play that man-to-man style if your corners have to hold up? There's no two. Azaria Thomas, it showed some flashes last year, but he hasn't really played on a full-time basis, so that's a question mark. I guess you asked about improvement. If they intercept one pass, that'll be improvement, right? So,
well, I wasn't talking in the letter of the law sense, Rich, just more of a sense that we'd all feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the worst defensive seasons in Jet history last year. I mean, so there will be improvement. They
how
will
depressing
be better.
is that sentence even to hear a year later? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, and so Demario Davis will help them a lot just by getting them organized and just from a play calling standpoint, getting the plays relayed. That were some issues last year with that. So they will be more organized. They will be better on defense. I'm not ready to say they're going to be a top 10 defense or top 15, but they will be better.
Rich, we've talked about this a little bit, but I'm operating under an assumption here, and you can tell me if it's not fair, okay? But just the way we read how everything went down, that Aaron Glenn wanted to hire a different defensive coordinator this offseason, basically was told, we're paying an awful lot of coaches right now who are not coaching for us anymore, so, and most of those guys are yours, so we're going to go ahead and ask you to fix that. Is it fair to ask Aaron Glenn to improve as a head coach while putting more on his plate?
Yeah, that's the interesting dynamic because there is a lot on his plate now. And look, we all know he wasn't great as a head coach last year, and I think he would admit that. His game management left a lot to be desired. And so now you're taking that guy and you're having him call the defense. And it's not just calling plays on defense. It's communicating with your assistant coaches between series to set up your strategy for the next series. While doing that, also managing the entire game. Deciding whether to go for it on fourth down, when to use timeouts. And I know he has people who help him on that, but ultimately it's his decision. So yes, it's a lot on a plate for a guy who struggled last year in that department. So that'll be one of the fascinating things to watch as the season goes on. Whether or not, I've heard people on both sides say, he wanted to call the plays, and other people say he was forced into that. The people in the Glenn camp say emphatically that it was his decision. So it's one of those who you believe. I think he's been all in on it. I know the players like it. They feel like he's more involved and that they can feel his energy in practice when he's out there in the trenches, so to speak, calling the plays. And so that's been a positive, at least from a player perspective.
All right, last one. What tonight has your attention? What tonight should have the attention of the Jet fan without the starters on the field?
Well, you want to see Cade Klubnik continue his progression. He's played, I think, 41 snaps so far in the preseason. He's had 25 dropbacks. He still doesn't have a turnover. So that's really impressive for a rookie to get thrown out there and play pretty steady ball. I know coaches feel like he has uncommon poise for a guy his age and, experience level. So you want to see him continue to progress because let's face it, he's going to be their backup quarterback. I think they went into this preseason. It was his job to lose. I don't think he's really lost it. And unless some veteran shakes free that no one expects, I would expect Klubnik to be the backup. So you want to see him. And then you want to see other guys. I think a couple of draft picks from last year are worth watching, like Malachi Moore and Arian Smith, both fourth-rounders, who have really underperformed so far. I think they'll be on the 53, but, you still want to see something more from them. And then the kid last week, Nate Lynn, who had the 2 sacks. He literally comes off his couch, comes practice, 2 days later, he's getting 2 sacks against the Steelers. He's an intriguing guy, a fun guy to watch. So and the kicker, Jason Sanders essentially won the job over Cade York. I don't think Sanders has had a great camp. I think he's been good. He's had a couple of shaky practices, but now that the job is his, of course, you want him to make all his kicks, and you feel better about that position going into the Tennessee game.
All right, Rich. I almost said enjoy it tonight, but it's the end of the preseason, so I can't even say enjoy it.
I think all the veteran players and the coaches, everyone, even the reporters, have one eye on the preseason, the regular season. Everyone's looking ahead to that. But tonight is just one of those exercises you go through, and like I said, it's big for those final few roster spots. A lot of guys are playing football for probably the last time in their life tonight, and this is their one last chance to make an impression. So that's kind of what the game is about.
Appreciate it. Rich Cimini, ESPN NFL reporter for the Jets for ESPN NFL Nation. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, Chris, take it easy.
Yep. Lodi, New Jersey. Are you ready? Because Monkey Sports is bringing the ultimate sports destination to your neighborhood. Join Team ESPN at Monkey Sports tomorrow. That's Saturday, August 29th. For the grand opening celebration. It's all starting at 9 a.m., 240 Route 17 South, Lodi, New Jersey. Meet brand experts, check out the latest sports gear, and win ESPN swag. Whether you're a player, parent, coach, or fan, there is something for everyone at Monkey Sports. Don't miss the biggest grand opening of the year. That's right, Monkey Sports, Lodi, New Jersey. Carlin on ESPN New York and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel at 800-919-3776. In just a little bit, we're going to go sideline to sideline. There are guys that I'm interested in. I don't know how much Adonai Mitchell's going to play tonight, all right? Doesn't get a sense that he's going to be a big factor, but he's somebody on a night like tonight because he has taken the steps forward that you would hope that if he is going to be out there, it's not going to be for all that many snaps. What I'm really intrigued with Mitchell is that I don't think enough is talked about how highly this guy was regarded 2 years ago when he was coming out of Texas, and how the Colts almost thought they were getting a steal when they got him in the second round. And then for whatever reason, it did not work out in Indianapolis. We have heard nothing but incredibly positive things about Adonai Mitchell. Ray and I were discussing just a little while ago who the second player is on that Jet offense. The guy that you game plan for, that you're really worried about. And there's Garrett Wilson and there's Breece Hall. As Rich pointed out, they were expecting a lot from Sadiq to be somebody that was going to offer them a lot early in the year. And obviously that's not the case. And now we're going to be waiting until the middle of the season. I still feel like he's going to be a great player in the league, but this bums me out. Mitchell has me intrigued. Omar Cooper, I expect to be pretty good. I don't know if he's going to be an all-world receiver. Adonai Mitchell has an awful lot of ability. And if he just grows up and kind of avoids some of the immature mistakes that he had in Indianapolis, like when he was on the verge of scoring a touchdown last year and let go of the ball before he crossed the goal line in the anticipation of a celebration, catching the ball, hands getting better. All of the things that we have been hearing have been exceptionally positive. The Jet offense this year should not be boring. The Jet offense should not be boring. And you might think that, that's not exactly setting the bar all that high. You'd be surprised here. Because with Geno Smith as your quarterback, right away, that is not lighting me on fire and getting me anxious and anticipating for the start of the season. And excited for the start of the season to see what the offense is going to be. It's just everybody else around him. I really, first and foremost, am most interested in the play in the early part of the year of the offensive line. Are they going to block for Breece Hall effectively? And are they going to block for Geno Smith effectively? Is it really a group that we have been talking about that talent-wise on paper should be pretty good, is it going to be a group that comes together well and is one of the better ones in the league? Because if we're being truthful, a few of us, and I include myself in that, off of Fashionu's first year, off of what we saw from Membu, the fact that Tippmann got his contract, we believe that the Jet offensive line has a chance to be one of the better ones in the league. But we also could be jumping the gun a little bit on that, could we not? I think we absolutely could be. I am very interested in that, but the difference for this offense is going to be everybody else. Mitchell, Cooper, next to Garrett Wilson, and then Hall, who has now gotten paid, running the football like you hope that he would. I cannot wait for Sadiq to get out there. I know people are very high on Mason Taylor. Like, I don't sit here and think Mason Taylor is going to be a big-time playmaking receiver. I think Sadiq is going to be a matchup nightmare for other teams. But the fact that he hasn't been on the field, like this really sets him back. Like, maybe you see him for a few plays here and there early in the year, but you're not going to see him out there a ton up until the time when he has a lot of practices under his belt. He still has to go through his own version of training camp. And if all of those things pan out, that's a big if the line is as good as we think it can be, and some of these other skill position players can be pretty good and at least something that you have to account for, the Jet offense should not be boring even if Geno's the quarterback. 800-919-3776. ESPN New York comments as well in the YouTube chat. YouTube chat, question for everything. Rich loves dwelling on the negative and pessimistic narratives. My God, no, he does not. I don't think that's true at all. I think what Rich is a reporter who has seen a lot of bad football. And I think it's tough to ask anybody based on the level of abuse that they've been through before or based on the level of pain that they've been through before to ask them to immediately come in and now be optimistic this year. Because we've been there before and the quarterback tears his Achilles the third play in the season. So I'm going to get back to the calls in a second, but just to draw a correlation. My wife and I, back in February, adopted a 2-year-old dog, shelter dog. Her name's Abby. And she's an incredibly sweet dog. But the last time we had a dog, we had her as a puppy. So we knew that all of her background was based around us and how we had kind of treated her. And there was no, you don't know how a shelter dog has lived before you get them. So our dog still is incredibly reactive toward particular things. On the leash, she will go nuts, screaming and yelling at other dogs and at other people. You try to come in our house right now, she is protecting our house like you are walking in the door and you could be anybody and you're trying to steal everything and burn our place to the ground. She is that protective of it. But it's not because, like, that's just her nature. I have the feeling that a lot of it's because of whatever she dealt with before. I can't ask Abby to come in the house and be nice to everybody when that's not been her personal experience before. We have to hopefully train her into the more positive aspects of it. Like a Jet fan right now. If you want to be pessimistic and you've been around it for a long time, I can't expect you not to be just because I tell you not to be. You have to experience some of the positive for yourself. Such is the case with Abby. Spencer in East Windsor is on ESPN New York. Spencer, what's going on, bud? How are you?
I love the interview with Rich. I got a lot to talk about, Carlin. I hope I can get as much in as possible. I'm not pessimistic about the season, but you have to admit the season feels like, starting a chess game and you're missing a bishop and maybe a couple pawns. Let's talk about the cornerback situation. I want to know. I feel like we're a little underhanded with the cornerback. If we don't get D'Angelo Pons by game one, That seems to be a position where we're falling short a little bit. I mean, what do you think?
I think they felt like Pons could be a starter at one of the corner spots, if not at the nickel. And so now, no Nashawn Wright, who has basically not played at all in the preseason. And he was a guy that had 5 interceptions last year. I don't know that you're going to get that kind of production again because the Bears forced a ton of turnovers last year. But I think you're more than within your right to be skeptical about the corner position right now. Brandon Stevens did not play great football last year at all. Yeah. And with Wright being out, and, Brownlee, I think, played better. Azaria Thomas played better, but there's still more than fair questions there. And the Jets knew there were more than fair questions there because they drafted somebody in the second round and they signed somebody from another team that was a pretty good player.
Interesting that you're not mentioning Quintez Stickers. He's like on the outside, looking in. I have a feeling that he makes the team. On the Jets' offensive line, they do look good, but when you start to dissect them, and we're splitting hairs here, but Dylan Parham, he might be the so-called weak link, and I do say that with quotes because they're still very good. He made that nice play in the second game. Thoughts on Dylan Parham? What do you think?
I would say that he would be the biggest question I would have on the offensive line right now, and thanks for the call. Not biggest, I should say question, concern, like is there a weak link? All of that, just kind of tie it together, make it a little bit less dramatic as to say a weak link. What is Dylan Parham going to be with the Jets? Because he started every game with the Raiders last year, but like who wouldn't have? The Raiders' offensive line was just an abomination last season. And that doesn't mean everybody was terrible, but Parham was available. The Jets brought him in to be a starter. And you hope that when you have other offensive linemen around him that you certainly believe in the talent of, that he's going to be good or at least better. I don't know. I don't know on Dylan Parham. Yes, he would be my biggest question because I think Myers is a pretty good player. I certainly, they in giving Tippmann the contract, they show how high they are on him. And I don't know how you can't be encouraged by how Fashanu and Membu have played in the first 2 years. So if Parham at left guard is the guy that you're going to worry about, at least it's a decent position. Like if you're going to have a weak link, that's the place to probably have it. But yeah, I have questions about it, no doubt. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. On the way, we have Sideline to Sideline. Later in the show, we've got more to do on the Giants and Jets tonight with Jordan Raanan, who's going to join us. He has managed to squeeze us into the schedule, and we appreciate that on what is certainly an incredibly busy day. Do you think, Ray Deanahan, that if I am smarmy in my tone with Jordan Raanan later of, we know it's a busy day, thank you so much for squeezing us in, finding time for us, will he eventually get annoyed in the interview? Can I poke the bear enough? Because it really struck me that started to happen as we got toward Thursday yesterday, as Dan continued to remind him that, Dan has to work the Jet game tonight, and he's going to be there, but maybe, in fact, Jordan couldn't find his way to do that.
It's very small paper cuts that have been happening all week.
Yeah.
I think if you keep pushing, even though he's not here, I think you'll be able to get a reaction.
All right, can we open the wound?
Stinks. No,
can we
I'm
open
saying
the
you're
wound?
all kissing his butt.
I'm good Monday through Friday. That's the text message that you start with. Okay, that says everything to me. And then he's not. Carlin, ESPN New York.
Good Karma Sports is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with Good Karma Sports, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmasports.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmasports.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
There are a million reasons to love New York. Making your budget stretch isn't one of them. According to an independent study, Amazon prices average 14% lower than other retailers. Get food, fashion, furniture, and more shipped straight to your building. Plus, another study found Amazon Prescription Pass customers pay nearly 1/3 less out of pocket. Learn more at aboutamazon.com.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
When's the last time payroll was the easy part of your week? With Gusto, it can be. Gusto is the all-in-one platform designed to take the hassle out of managing your team, from payroll and compliance to hiring, onboarding, and more. With Gusto, you can get back 2 full days each month with all the time you've saved. Go to gusto.com today and learn why over 500,000 small businesses choose Gusto. That's GUSTO.com. Gusto.com.
My friends, time for your weather report. Weekend weather report brought to you by Neutral. Humid with a high of 82 today, less humid tomorrow, high of 80. Sunday brings partly sunny and humid conditions with a high of 83. Down at the Jersey Shore, beautiful start to the weekend tomorrow with sunshine and a high of 77. Sunday, humidity rises with a high of 83. That was your weekend weather report brought to you by Neutral. Keep it tasty with Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Made with real vodka and fruit juice. Enjoy responsibly. Carlin, ESPN New York YouTube channel. Get your comments in. Watch the show over there. You can see it all live as we carry you right through. Right now, though, it is time on this Friday, just less than 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season, for some Sideline to Sideline.
It's gonna happen. This is Sideline to Sideline.
Go. Our host is Ray Danahan. He is here to fill us in on what we have today on Sideline to Sideline. Raymond, how are you?
Sideline to Sideline. We will start with some of the preseason that ended last night. And the Falcons were... Falcons. I saw the Kirk Cousins name and I went to Falcons. I don't know why. The Raiders. Las Vegas
Don't worry,
Raiders.
the Falcons are going to be just as bad as the Raiders.
Right. They played last night. Fernando Mendoza did not do well. So it is trending towards everyone thinking Kirk Cousins will start the year for them. But Clint Kubiak says they have not made a decision yet. Do you believe him?
What are we doing? Like, why would you leave that door open? Like, the only reason that Clint Kubiak would leave that door open that I can even remotely think of, because he actually said prior to that, in the same press conference, that you can't possibly have enough reps if you're Mendoza here, and he wishes that he said Mendoza, quote, needs 3 more preseason games. So there's no reason whatsoever to not say that Kirk Cousins is going to start. We all know that Kirk Cousins is going to start. The only reason I would say that is if they have some injury concern about Cousins. Otherwise, why would he say it? And then he made the comment earlier that he needs 3 more preseason games. It was bizarre. That feels like kind of a rookie head coach mistake of, I can't commit to anything in any spot, but you can commit to that. We all know it. We all know that's what's going to happen. And there shouldn't be any reason to not. Mendoza last night was not great. He was 7 for 14, I think, for 57 yards and a pick. The pick was a ball that he threw high that got tipped. It was his fault. It was just, listen, if the Raiders are, I'm not going to question what they're doing with Mendoza because they're not jamming him down our throats and they're not forcing him out there. I actually think Kubiak, as a quarterback coach and an offensive coach, understands when that guy is going to be close to ready and doesn't feel like it yet, even though he's played a lot of football. But I did think that was strange, Rick. Thanks for pointing that out. Good point.
Sticking with quarterbacks, your coach, Mike McCarthy, he says, I feel good about the quarterback room. I've been saying it for quite some time, and they showed it on the field. We got 2 veterans that we can win with. That's cute. He thinks he can win with Mason Rudolph.
Oh, my God.
And we got 2 young guys that we're excited about the future. He thinks all 4 quarterbacks have earned a roster spot right now.
Have earned a roster spot? He's talking about keeping 4 quarterbacks? I mean, what are we doing? I think he's probably just saying some nice things there because they're going to end up cutting Will Howard. Or they're either going to do one of 2 things. They're going to trade Mason Rudolph, or they're going to cut Will Howard, and they're going to want to try to keep Will Howard around, and that might be hard to do. They don't have 2 veterans they can win with. They don't have 1 veteran they can win with. They can't win with the starter. Guys, you watch. This is going to be a bad ending for Aaron Rodgers. That offensive line is okay at best. There is not enough there and not enough left in the tank for Aaron Rodgers to do much in Pittsburgh. I am not feeling at all optimistic about this scenario. And the idea of keeping 4 quarterbacks is silly. Maybe that's just positioning himself with the idea of potentially trading Rudolph to somebody who needs a backup quarterback. But they don't have 1 veteran they can win with, let alone 2. Please. Next.
The Los Angeles Rams, they felt like they needed a wide receiver before the season began, so they went to the deepest wide receiver room there is, Miami, and plucked the one guy people might be able to name, and Tutu Atwell, away from the Dolphins. Sean McVay says it is not about, has nothing to do with a possible suspension for Puka Nacua.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's going to say that. Couple of things. You're right. Boy, if you're ever going to go anywhere to try, does anybody have more of a surplus of receivers than the Miami Dolphins? I was down there a few weeks ago because I'm calling Dolphins games in week 1 and week 3. So I wanted to get to practice at least one time. And as I'm watching them practice in the stadium, I got the binoculars on and I'm looking at the roster and I feel like it's the beginning of Major League. Who the hell is that guy? As I'm looking specifically at the receivers, and then I see, oh, that's Tutu Atwell. Oh, okay. Has there ever been a bigger leap from what could be just the worst of situations with a team trying to win this season, going from there to a better situation? Like, I can't even in pennant races, I can't remember guys who have drastically improved so much in getting traded as Tutu Atwell did and getting traded back to the Rams. Obviously, that has something to do with the suspension because the Rams probably feel like that's coming here and wanted to have somebody back who is a very cheap price of $1.4 million, who understands their room and their language and all that. And so that's a very easy adjustment. But dear God.
I bet his teammate Myles Garrett has an argument too.
That's a fair point. That's fair. But I still would say, like, I don't know, are the Dolphins are worse than the Browns? This year, maybe. Anyway, that's a good call. There aren't many, though. There are not many. And the Rams have done it twice already. Next.
We can close out Sideline to Sideline hearing from John Harbaugh, speaking about everybody's favorite running back, Cam Scatterbo.
Well, I mean, Scat's great. You know, he does bring a lot of energy, you know, and but he did get a 15-yard penalty at the end of practice. Did you notice that? So that's not infectious. Well, it is infectious, actually. You know, infectious in the bad way, right? Like infectious disease type of thing, you know? We don't want that. So we want it to be directed in a positive way.
Look, you need some guys who are a little bit different on teams, okay? Scatterbo's a guy that's a little bit different. But I don't need a knucklehead. I don't need players who add positive things but then immediately take away from them with a 15-yard penalty. Like, that stuff is just not stuff that can happen, especially from a second-year running back. Like, if you're Scatterbo and you're going to pride yourself on being this bruising back who takes all the hits and doesn't care what anybody else thinks, and you're going to do your backflips and all that crap, like, we understand that your shelf life is not terribly long. And if I were Scatterbo, Bart talked about this several weeks ago. If I'm Scatterbo, there's one guy I'm looking at right now and kind of comparing my situation to. And that guy's Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco went and he was in Kansas City and he had a great first 3 years in the league. Then his fourth year, he's banged up. He kind of loses the job a little bit. And what do you know? He ends up signing somewhere else as a running back that's taken a lot of hits and going to Detroit for I think he signed for 1.8. And now he's been hurt twice. Like, Scatterbo, I would not be making the dumb mistakes to go with being a physical tone-setting running back. Because all that does is ensure you're going to be off the field even quicker. If you're going to do that, like if I'm John Harbaugh, I'm not putting up with that. Like, your net positive is good, but it's not nearly good enough for you to continue to justify being on the field when you're going to make mistakes like that. Silly. Just silly. Carlin, ESPN New York. ESPN New York YouTube channel, 800-919-3776, 800-919, ESPN. We also told you earlier about the things that we needed an answer for, correct? Well, there is also something to admit that you might be wrong about.
Answer it!
Coming up, we always make predictions at the beginning of the year that we end up being wrong about. So we answer the question now as opposed to when we're looking in the rearview mirror in hindsight's 2020. Who are we wrong about? That's on the way next. ESPN New York.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Calling hard seltzer lovers. Searching for the tastiest seltzer? Look no further. Neutral Vodka Seltzer is absolutely delicious. Made with real vodka and real juice, Neutral keeps it tasty with every sip. With flavors like peach, orange, strawberry, and pineapple, there's something for everyone. Neutral. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026 Anheuser-Busch. Neutral flavored vodka and carbonation. 4.5% alcohol by volume. St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Protecting your home inside and out.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. New episodes available now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Michael K. Show.
You hear people saying, that's why the Yankees should have got a reliever. Well, they tried. Everybody wanted George Lombard Jr., one of their top prospects. Would you have wanted to give up George Lombard Jr.? Oh, they should have gotten Mason Miller. Not available. They should have got Morozan. Not available. They did try. They knew they needed another arm in the bullpen, but you can't bankrupt your system to get another arm in the bullpen.
The Michael K. Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
I have a fantasy draft tomorrow morning, and I'm not going to bore you with, who's on your team and all that crap or who you're keeping. All that. Here's what I will say. I don't know if you're like me at all, but I have come to dread these drafts. I used to love them. To me, they were a lot more fun when they were much more in person. I know a lot of people still do that, and I think that's great. When you'd all be sitting around a table at a restaurant doing a draft, and even if you didn't have the big board where you went up and put the stickers on it, you still had fun being around each other. And a lot more of these now are online and all that, but I have this league that I have been in for the last 20 years with my brother, Steve. and he was an attorney in Dallas, and it is a group of attorneys that are in this league. And I've said this before. First of all, they have a constitution that is written for the league, and it is written so that it can be interpreted in many, many different ways.
What?
Yeah, it's just like you can't ever get a straight ruling on what should be what. But I just personally am kind of dreading this draft because I don't know what it is, but over the last 7-8 years, I just haven't even been in contention in any of my leagues. From just the bad, dumb injuries at every other spot that absolutely destroy your season, to just being flat out wrong about what a player was going to be capable of doing, or picking somebody late. Like tomorrow, I am dreading this right now because of the following. I have the 5th pick in the draft, and it's a draft that has a league that has keepers in it. The 5th pick is going to end up being, do I take Christian McCaffrey with all the injuries that are involved there, which is just a nightmare even considering to ask for that, because I'm assuming that of these 4 guys, that Gibbs, Robinson, Taylor, and, maybe Puka will be gone, and, maybe Justin Jefferson's around. Well, he's got Kyler Murray. He took a massive hit last year with his production. Is that worth it? Like, I'm in no man's land. I can't win, and I'm just going to I don't even have hair to pull out anymore. Ugh. Do you have any scenarios like that where you are just, you're not enjoying it as much as you used to? You're just not in the position where you feel like you go in knowing that there's a good chance your team's not going to be very good. And it's kind of like going into a season like the Jets, right? And the Browns. You're not going to be very good, but you're hoping for the best, and maybe you get a break here and there. That's what I feel like. 800-919-3776. We told you earlier that we would be doing the following. Looking at who are we wrong about. I'm hoping I'm wrong about this. But who in advance, based on what the early preseason thoughts are on how good teams are going to be, who are we going to be wrong about? Ray Danahan asked that question.
Wrong, man.
Ray asked that question of us now. Go, Ray.
Oh, Reggie will forever live in infamy.
That's amazing.
Okay, let's start with a team whose dynasty came to an end last year with some injury. Now there's a new member of the team, Taylor Swift. She's part of the family. Will the Chiefs automatically bounce back this year?
Here's the thing. I think that a lot of people are writing them off too soon. I don't think if you believe that the Chiefs are not going to, or are going to bounce back automatically, I think you're going to be right about that. I don't think you're going to be wrong about that, because you still have Patrick Mahomes. And when you still have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not still the best quarterback in the league, who's won 3 Super Bowls and might be just coming to the end of the first wave or championship window in his career, I'm not writing that off just yet. The Kelsey thing, he's older. The Kenneth Walker thing, I'll be interested in, but I'm not writing that off because of Mahomes yet. I don't think people that think they're going to automatically bounce back are going to be wrong, Ray. What about you?
I think that the Chiefs are always there in the end, and until there's a season where Patrick Mahomes is healthy and they are not in the AFC Championship game, and even more so the Super Bowl, that's when I will say they were done.
Okay, next.
Sticking at the top, last year's surprise out of the AFC was the Patriots. Everyone assumes because they went to the Super Bowl last year, automatically they are going to be one of the top teams in the AFC again. Are we wrong about that?
Yeah, I think we are. The Patriots are taking a step back this year. I believe that, even with A.J. Brown. Look at what that schedule is. That schedule is a beast, And New England had an awful lot of things go their way last year. And while I'm not a believer in analytics, I am a believer that when you have such a drastic change from one year to the next, and you have 4-13 to 14-3, you've had a lot of breaks go your way, and that tends to even out. So I think it evens out a little bit more for the Patriots, especially when they're playing a schedule that I believe to be pretty difficult. I believe it to be pretty difficult. They have one nice stretch where they play the Raiders, the Jets, they're at Chicago, but then at Miami in 3 of 4 weeks in late October, early November. But besides that, there are not many soft spots in this schedule at all. I say, yeah, the Patriots are not bouncing back. People who think they are, or the Patriots are not immediately there again. If you think they are, you're going to be wrong.
I was wrong, man.
Yeah, I think while they are still going to be among the top, can they just be feared by everybody? No, but I think they will play well enough to be in the playoffs, and then they will be a contender during the playoffs, but easily knocked off.
Joe Leo, what say you?
I think they'll be a playoff team. I don't think, and I love A.J. Brown. Speaking of fantasy, I think he is a, for sure, high pick. But I don't think with the offseason that the coach has had in Vrabel that that's going to translate to on-field success this year.
Next.
Everybody looks at the Jets' schedule and looks at the NFC North and just assumes 4 losses, like those are such tough games. Are we wrong about the NFC North being so tough?
Answer it! That's a fair question, because you have Detroit didn't make the playoffs last year. The Bears, talk about having everything go your way. Their turnover numbers were just so absurdly in their favor that that's got to turn around in the other direction and even out a bit more. I like Kyler Murray more than most people do, but are the Vikings really that good? Kevin O'Connell's kind of on the hot seat this year. And there are people that don't believe as much in the Packers this season. Ray, I think there's going to be a stinker among that group, and there's going to be another team that's going to underachieve among that group. I think people are going to be wrong about the NFC North and how good it is.
I was wrong, man.
I agree. I have not seen anything out of the Lions since losing the offensive coordinator over to Chicago. And when it comes to what he has done in Chicago, while I believe in his play calling, I don't know if I believe in that quarterback, because they, as you said, had a lot of fortune in the turnover game. So while they'll be competitive, are they a team to fear? I don't know that they're a team to fear.
Joe Leo, you have 2 teams that you think people are going to be wrong about. Who are they?
Philadelphia Eagles, 7th coordinator in 6 years, and you just traded your best receiver away. Mm-hmm. And every receiver you have seemingly is under 6 feet tall.
Here's what's interesting, though, about that to me is that I would take it that most people think the Eagles are going to fall off because of Jalen Hurts.
Everything that I've seen, it's given the schedule and rest advantage and all that sort of stuff, a lot of people are high on the Eagles and having them winning the division again. Mm-hmm. I don't. I think they missed the playoffs this year.
And your other one?
The other team that is a preseason Super Bowl favorite is the Denver Broncos. I'm not a believer in Bo Nix. I think Jalen Waddle is massively overrated. He is not the explosive option that a lot of people think he's going to be. And I'm not sold on that running back room at all. The defense could be as good as top 3, top 5 in the league, but quarterback, running back room, and outside of Waddle, who also gets hurt, Cortland Sutton's not really the pillar of health either. So I don't really know what Sean Payton's going to do up in Denver to make a Super Bowl. I think that would be miraculous. I also think they missed the playoffs.
That's interesting. I could not disagree with you more on both Philadelphia and Denver. I think You're going to be wrong about both of those. How about that?
I hope I'm not Reggie. I really hope I'm not this at the in January.
I was wrong, man.
On the Broncos running back thing, keep an eye on Jonah Coleman, the rookie from Washington. And also, as far as the Eagles are concerned, man, I think a lot of people are writing off Jalen Hurts as a player. And what I know is that is someone who has already, in the biggest of spots, played exceptionally good football. I know that people don't think he's as good as his numbers would say. They still have good receivers, and I'm a big Mekhi Lemon believer. I think the Eagles are not going anywhere soon. That's for sure. In other words, they're not going anywhere away from the top of the division in the NFC East soon. Carlin, ESPN New York YouTube channel, 800-919-3776. Giants, Jets tonight. More on the Giant perspective. We have been able to coax a few minutes out of our friend Jordan Raanan. He joins us next.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
Hey, Yankees and Knicks fans. Come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday, September 25th, and be ready to receive a very special giveaway. It's Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines. The first 18,000 guests will receive a Josh Hart Yankees bobblehead. Again, don't miss Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines, when the Yankees face the Orioles on Friday, September 25th. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, it's Kirk Herbstreit. When it's game time, you need a good playbook, especially in the kitchen. Because when a crowd wants wings, fresh pizza, and mouthwatering sliders, you better have options in your kitchen.
With Frigidaire range, you get over 15 cooking modes, including stone-baked pizza, air fry, and air sous vide. Your game time MVP combo built right into your oven. Available at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A good karma sports radio station. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome.
See, this is what I don't understand. It's Carlin, ESPN New York, and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel at 800-919-3776. You can be a part of the program very quickly, very easily by leaving your comments in the ESPN New York YouTube chat. We get them in throughout the course of the show. This is what I don't understand. Let's check in with Jordan Raanan. He, of course, is the Giants reporter covering the Giants for ESPN NFL Nation. And Jordan, you'll remember from earlier this week, was hosting with Dan Grassa through the mornings, was initially scheduled to host today as well, but then realized there was a game tonight with Jets-Giants, and he was then unavoidably detained for today's show. A lot on his plate tonight. Meanwhile, Dan's hosting pre- and post-game, but that's fine. He did the show anyway. And then I was just told you were being difficult on the phone.
I will not be poked and prodded into unnecessary reaction by that ridiculous hyperbole that I just heard.
Well, it's not. None of that was hyperbole. Please tell me where I was inaccurate on any of it.
I mean, never agreed to do today. Had a family thing last night, and again this morning. I just went to my daughter's game. I'm not going to be able to get to too many games for high school coming up. And it was never agreement that I was going to do the Friday show. It was always clearly
I believe the first
laid
text
out.
said Monday through Friday, did it not?
It also, you're leaving out the part that it said the 24th to the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What date's today?
It said Monday through Friday.
It said August 24th to 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What date's today?
Today's the 28th.
Exactly. And so he said, and then we clarified that as part of the same conversation. Oh yes, okay, we're not doing Friday. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you want to get to your daughter's game? I forget? Did we tell you to have kids?
See, that's the disconnect here. You got the guys with no kids who just,
It's not the guy. It's not all the guys with no kids do it. It's just my point is like Dan's double dipping tonight, but it's just a little too much for you. And listen, you know what? I don't want to harp on it. Here's what I want to say. I want to say thank you.
Yeah, you do want to harp on it. You do.
I really want to thank you for squeezing us into a schedule on what I know is an incredibly busy time. So thank you for that.
I just got home. I will be home for 2 hours, and I'm going to the stadium. So I did fit you in here.
And that is not lost on me, and it is greatly appreciated. Let's actually talk about some football. All right, first things first. Do we see the starters tonight? How long do we see the starters tonight? What's your feel? What are you hearing about this?
Yeah, I know to some degree we're going to see the starters. I don't know exactly about the Jackson Dart part. My feeling is that we're going to see them for a drive or two. The likelihood to me if they don't play in this game, they didn't play in the second preseason game. They played 1 day of joint practices in Miami, and then their first preseason game would basically be a month of not getting in game action for the Giants starters if they don't play today up until September 13th when they face the Cowboys. So I do think John Harbaugh, who's installing new schemes and offense and defense, and had said at the beginning of the summer he wanted the guys to play. It's just hard for me to imagine that they're not going to get any work in today.
All right, so with that in mind, Jordan, with Jackson Dart, there were the whispers that we heard early in the offseason before training camp that maybe it was a little bit of a slower process than the Giants would have hoped on Jackson picking up the new offense. What has been your takeaway now that camp is in the rearview mirror?
There's been progress that's been made in regards to the offense. I don't ever think that was a thing, that he was slower than they expected. I think that it was always, okay, we're in the middle of a process here. I never talked to anyone in the organization that thought it was going slower than they wanted. Even in early in camp, they were very patient, saying, "Look, we're still working with this offense. We haven't installed everything. There's everybody is still learning. Like that's what happens here when you install a new offense." So I think we've seen a significant jump though in the past couple weeks with the offense of the quarterback looking more comfortable, being able to get the ball downfield. It's something that the coaches have pushed. Hey, we don't want to just check the ball down all day. We want to be able to hit those mid to intermediate routes, those passes downfield. He hit one to Darnell Mooney the other day. That was probably his best pass of the summer, a deep ball over the top. So I think we've seen significant progress, especially over the past couple weeks with this offense. We're getting a better feel of probably what it's going to look like and things that work for Jackson Dart, because that's the thing, Chris. They had installed all these things. They didn't really know what Jackson Dart was going to like, what he might be good at or thrive at. And now they're kind of been paring it down. Okay, this is kind of what we think would be good for him. This is what his feedback was that he likes to do. And then they're getting a better feel of, I think, now what the offense is really going to look like come week one.
Jordan Raanan, ESPN New York Giants reporter, of course, covers it for ESPN NFL Nation as well. Malik Neighbors, set the facts straight here. Where do we stand here for him week one? Fully available. What are the Giants' expectations?
Yeah, barring a setback, I'd expect Malik Neighbors to be playing week one. He's looked pretty good in practice. He did leave early the other day. John Harbaugh said it wasn't an injury thing as far as he knew, so take him for his word at this point. So as long as Malik Neighbors is continuing to progress, he got rid of the red jersey this week, so he finally got into some contact drills. I'd expect Malik Neighbors to be mostly unaffected week one. I mean, maybe he won't be at 100%. Like when you're in straight running situations, why would you have? You don't really need Malik Neighbors out there, right? So is he going to play 100% of the snaps? I would really highly doubt that. But I think he's going to carry a pretty substantial workload come week one, barring anything happening between now and September 13th.
Not to downplay anybody's injury and being lost for the season, but when you look at Calvin Austin's history, how much were the Giants really counting on Calvin Austin to be a big factor in their offense?
They had a substantial role for him, it was as their slot receiver, their third receiver, jet sweeps, end arounds, those kind of things, little gadget type plays, I guess you could call them. There was a spot for him. I mean, was he going to be a 1,000-yard guy? Absolutely not. But he certainly had a role, and I'd probably, include him as he's one of the starters. So I do think, and now that's a role that they have to fill. Darnell Mooney is a guy that now can pretty naturally step into that role because they're number 1 and 2 receivers, assuming everyone's healthy. Malik Neighbors and Malachi Fields. And so who's their third receiver? It was probably Calvin Austin with Mooney and Slayton sprinkled in. Now I think Mooney steps into that role of Austin, and Slayton's just going to be a little bit more involved. Braxton Berrios kind of too. He could play that slot role as well. And then there's Odell Beckham Jr., who now likely slides into the roster when the reality is he might have been out if Calvin Austin didn't get injured.
How much with Beckham? Obviously, that improved his chances greatly, but the Berrios thing I was curious about just because of the special teams factor. So that part of it is not working as much against Beckham now? Well,
Calvin Austin, Berrios didn't play in that second preseason game, but the one who did return punts in that game, if you remember, was Calvin Austin. So it was possible the Giants said, you know what, we could go with Calvin Austin as our punt returner. We don't need Braxton Berrios on the roster. Now that he naturally just slides into that role, he's going to be their punt returner. And sure, I think special teams do matter, but there are ways to finagle that these days, right, Chris? This isn't when you're trying to figure out the final spot on the roster. You can have guys on the practice squad and then elevate them for the game. So, I don't know. There's ways to work around it. I don't think that will prevent the Giants from wanting to keep Odell Beckham Jr. at this point, even though he doesn't play special teams. It doesn't help him, but I don't think it would prevent them from getting him on the final roster.
Jordan Raanan with us. Where to you, Jordan, are the Giants just materially better? We know about culture and all that stuff. Where are they materially better this year, the most improved?
The most improved, I would say probably inside linebacker, right? You drafted a guy 5th overall. He's playing inside linebacker in Arvell Reese. You signed Tremaine Edmonds and gave him a pretty nice deal. I think it's the $12 million a year to be your signal caller and inside linebacker. Big, physical players, right? And you're talking about a team, 5.3 yards per carry last year they allowed against the run. We're putrid there. To me, that's the area that I think the Giants are banking on most to improve their run defense is those two inside linebackers, the physicality that they play with, the size that they bring. So to me, they need those two guys to help that run game because they're still not great up front in the interior, the defensive line. Their depth there is actually a little worrisome. Like if they're going to be able to stop the run, it's going to be because those two guys are huge, huge factors. I'm talking Arvell Reese and Tremaine Edmonds. And if they're not only does it make their run defense a problem, but then it minimizes their pass rush, which is the strength of the team. And so everything goes in the wrong direction. It then leaves their secondary, which is a huge question mark. I don't know who you trust back there, out to dry. Like in order for them to be able to hide the secondary at all, you're going to need that pass rush. In order to have the pass rush, you need that run defense. So it all starts with those two inside linebackers to me.
All right. Last one. What has your attention the most tonight?
What do they have at that cornerback position? Yeah. Right? There's basically two groups. They all have gotten some first team reps at some point. We're talking about if the season started today, maybe Greg Newsome and Deonte Banks are your starting cornerbacks, but they're also been given an opportunity to Paulson Adebo and Colton Hood, their second-round pick this year. So, who's going to step up out of that group? How do they do? I know they're not going against super high. Garrett Wilson's not going to go, right? So they're not going against the Garrett Wilsons of the world. But they need to get that sorted out and get it sorted out quickly.
Jordan, as always, I came into this thinking, maybe I'll try to poke and prod and, get Jordan to react because I sensed like later in the week you were genuinely annoyed about how you were being portrayed in all of this. But I do appreciate the fact that you made time for us on what is an exceptionally busy day. And so that I will not go out of my way to make you react as if it's your world and we're all just living in it.
I mean, the little subliminal and like little needling you're doing there, even as you're trying to pretend like you're being nice, it's really something. Well, so I'm not going to fall for these shenanigans because I was on to you anyway because I was actually on my way home from the game hearing about your diabolical plan to try and poke and prod me.
But I think we'd agree I opted to not do that. I didn't really poke and prod you that much. I could have done it with every single question.
You threw in a lot of little jabs there in that little diatribe about how you're not going to do it.
I disagree. I recognize the challenges that you face daily in doing the most important work that we have on the planet. And I thank you for that, especially with the responsibility of children that nobody else has.
Point.
So thank you.
You're just proving my point. You're dripping. The sarcasm is dripping.
No, here's what it is.
Dripping.
Jordan,
there's a puddle below you on the floor right now. Somebody check Carlin in the studio.
That's all there is to it. I'm just
Mop
an ass.
on aisle Studio A, please.
Appreciate the time, Jordan. Thank you.
Chris, have a great day and enjoy that preseason game tonight.
I will likely not be watching a whole lot. Jordan Raanan, ESPN New York, and covering the Giants for ESPN New York, and did do a great job this week with Dan filling in the mornings for Rick and Dave. And so listen, and I know Jordan enjoys doing that as well as flexing his muscles, so to speak. As a reporter, he likes to show that he can be an entertaining host as well, as long as everything is on his terms. It's Carlin on ESPN New York, on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, 800-919-3776. Yankees-Red Sox tonight. I will be more tuned into this than I will be on Giants and Jets. Just honestly, now that I know that the Jets are not playing their starters, I'll watch the Giants early in this game just to see Dart, just to see who they play and how much they play. I'd be surprised if it was more than a series for anybody of import. But I'd be a lot more interested in Yankees-Red Sox, and not because I somehow think that this is going to be a referendum on how the postseason is going to play out. I am not buying into that as much. The Yankees clearly, very clearly, are in a position that is not going to change before the end of the regular season. They are in the 4 spot right now. And being in the 4 spot as the number 1 wild card means that you are playing the team that is directly behind you. And that is going to be the Red Sox. The Red Sox at number 5 will, in the second wild card, will end up being their opponent. And then they will likely have to play the Rays as the division winner that will be coming next in the number 1 seed. They have what you would already call in the American League, a league that we have downplayed in its, not importance, but certainly in its quality of play this season. We have downplayed it, and I think justifiably so, but it's more been about the other side of the bracket. The fact that the White Sox are over there, Houston, Texas, whoever else you want to pick, they're not very good teams. The best of the best in the American League, which is not amazing, is sitting in front of the Yankees. Not much is going to change between now and when the playoffs start. They're going to face Boston, they're going to face Tampa, and it's going to happen in each of the first 2 rounds. Does tonight tell me very much about that? As a whole, over the next 2-3 days with these 4 games, the doubleheader tomorrow, the answer to that is no. I won't come out of a 4-game sweep thinking, the Yankees can't beat them. Oh my God, this is a mess. This is a complete disaster. They have no chance when it comes to the playoffs against Boston or against Tampa. I won't come away with it with that because this is still the regular season. Where I have the questions is in the individual situations, is in the individual matchups. What are those going to look like? And I think with the Yankees now, it just boils down to, are they going to be able to hit enough against the Red Sox to beat them? And that's the question with everybody that the Yankees are going to face. Is their pitching, the opposition's pitching, going to be just too much for them in the end, where, frankly, scoring 1 or 2 runs is not going to be enough to win them games? The Yankees pitching is outstanding. But if you can't score 3 or 4 runs, at the very least, you can't expect to win consistently in the postseason. So when I'm looking at these individual situations over the next couple of days, I'm looking at how the Red Sox handle Ben Rice without Judge in the lineup. I'm looking at how Bellinger is treated without Judge in the lineup. I'm looking at the matchups out of the bullpen and who the Yankees really need to be concerned about from Boston when they're trying to get, let's say, a stretch of 4 lefties in a row out, as we've seen a couple of times. We saw the other night, Houston tried to do it, and they couldn't get one of those lefties out in a big situation with who they had. So that's what I'm more interested in the next few days. I don't think anything and how the Yankees are positioned right now is changing between now and the end of the regular season. None of it is. I don't expect any of it to. They're going to play who they're going to play. But the regular season doesn't tell me enough to let me know how bad the matchups are going to be for the Yankees, if there are any that they really have to be concerned about. It's just not. I feel like I can watch, I can keep things in mind. I'm very interested in it, but the radar, it doesn't really, the needle, so to speak, doesn't really move for me on anything that comes out of these games. Not anything at all. 800-919-3776. Ray, I'm going to do it. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it if he's still there. Is he there? Oh, boy. Once again, it's the warning to let you know that Richard Manhattan is here should you need to step away from the radio or phone or listening device in any way. Hello, Richard.
Chris, a subplot with the Red Sox. Aroldis Chapman and Sonny Gray, former Yankees, going up against them this weekend. Let's see if Schlittler and Bednar can best the combination Chapman and Schlittler. So we'll see what's what. Chris, yesterday, the best game in the major leagues, Sale versus Yamamoto, 1-0. How many times has this happened in Major League history? The only run scored in the game was a leadoff homer. That was it. No other runs were scored the next 27 outs on each team. That's an unbelievable thing. And let me tell you something. Don't close the book on the NL Cy Young. Sale is coming on fast. So let's see. Mizorowski versus Sale. Maybe a big go down to the end race. Now,
Sale has
night,
been fantastic.
Unbelievable.
You watch any of Mizorowski last night, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watched a ton of the Mets last night, but I saw enough of Mizorowski. That dude's just freaking.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It's
but Sale,
unbelievable
he's the underdog. Last night, MVP in the American League. Terrible night. Pete Alonso, 0 for 4, struck out 4 times. Jordani Alvarez on the Astros, 0 for 4, struck out 3 times. So that was not good for either of them. Both of those guys, who I think are the front runners for the MVP. All right, everyone keeps saying that the National League is so much stronger than the American League. So I counted up the wins total in the National League, total in the American League. The National League has 42 more wins than the American League team. So you divide that by 15, it's about 2.5, 3 games better. So each team in the National League 1 through 15 is only 3 games better than the American League counterparts. What I infer from all this is there's so much parity in the American League that's why it seems like it's a weaker league. We don't know
it's
anything.
A weaker league. Thanks for the call. It's a weaker league. It's absolutely a weaker league. There's no doubt that it's a weaker league. I got out quickly there from Richard for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't know what it is, but I just start to black out in the middle of the call sometimes, which is why, I had told Ray earlier, maybe I'm going to lay off Richard today. I don't really want to talk to him again today. We just had him yesterday, give it a little bit of a rest, but I took him, and I do some things in my life, and I think you guys can probably relate. Do you do some things in your life that you know you shouldn't do, but you do them anyway?
I was wrong, man.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I used to, and I say used to, it could still happen any day now. But in the midst of this weight loss, prior to this, I would go to the drive-thru, but I would feel bad after the fact, right? I'm looking for the instant satisfaction, but I would feel bad, and I would go into it knowing I'm probably going to feel bad after this. Why would I do that? I knew going into the Richard call that I was not going to feel great after it. And that's the other reason why I cut it off early. No, there's no reason to beat yourself over the head with a bat. Why would you do that, metaphorically speaking? Why would you do that? But yet I chose to do it. It's picking the wrong kind of relationships in your life. The wrong kind of people that you know are bad for you. But you still keep them around, or you still choose to date them. I don't know what I'm doing there. That is a topic for my therapist next week. I've got an appointment, I think, on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, I should probably check that out. By the way, what Richard pointed out, leadoff home run, only run scored between the Braves and Dodgers last night. You know what? Not that special. It's happened 33 times. And it took me about 5 seconds to find that out. It's happened 33 times since all the way back in 1900. So, not all that crazy, not all that special. 33 times. Carlin, ESPN New York, 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Plenty of opportunities for your calls the rest of the way. The phone lines are open now on what you're expecting from Yankees-Red Sox this weekend and what you're expecting from the Giants and the starters that they're going to play tonight, and really, truly, what the overall expectations for the season are at the moment. We'll discuss more of that next. Lines open, so is the chat on the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
There's a puddle below you on the floor right now.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
The unknown on the other side of this season leads me to believe that there's extra pressure on win now. I think for the Yankees, it's World Series or bust right now. It has to be. When they play their first playoff game, postseason game, whether it's a wild card round or whether they do get to the division somehow, some way, I think it really does start to feel like,
if not now, then when?
Yes.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Hey guys, it's Peter Rosenberg. And listen, you know me. I'm always honest about what's going on with my life. And recently, I've just been dealing with some nagging pain that I finally decided I wasn't going to ignore anymore. So I ran into my guy, Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. Decided to set a meeting. And after we talked, I understood why so many people recommend him. He's Ivy League trained, all right? He's the real deal. He's double board certified, and he takes a non-surgical approach to helping people get back to living their lives. If pain is keeping you from enjoying your summer, don't just live with it. Go check out Samwell Pain. Visit SamwellPain.com. Trust me.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hey, it's Michael K. Not sleeping? Well, it could be your mattress. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step mattress fitting process so that your new bed fits you perfectly. They guarantee it. And in-home delivery on any mattress $399 and up, it's free. Come in for a complimentary mattress consultation and get a free travel neck pillow, no purchase required. So do what I do and get to PC Richard & Son today for your new mattress. Free delivery excludes Manhattan.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking from Rings End. Picture this, a deck that's the highlight of your backyard, turning heads season after season. Now, imagine 20, 30 years later. It's still going strong. And here's the best part. You haven't spent a moment sanding, staining, or sealing it. Visit your local Rings End for the stunning real wood looks of TimberTech decking, paired with the kind of durability that only advanced engineering can deliver. Backed by industry-leading warranties, TimberTech is the decking that performs for decades. Ask for it locally at Rings End.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Get into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event and get away with a deal so right, it almost feels wrong. Right now, you can get great deals on our most popular models, including our adventure-ready SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe or Santa Fe Hybrid and the Tucson or Tucson Hybrid. Plus, there's our bold and stylish Elantra loaded with the latest tech, or go all-electric with the Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 9. So get down to your local Hyundai dealer and get away with a deal you'll love during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for details.
Chris Canty here. Football season is back, and Lids has you covered. Just in time for kickoff. Want the latest headwear to rep your team at the tailgate, at the barbecue, or at the game? Shop the 47-brand NFL collection, exclusively in-store at your local Lids. This collection puts a new spin on retro NFL gear. Lids has every fan covered with all 32 teams, featuring the big-time hits and alternate team logos. You'll find the perfect fit for every Sunday. Selection may vary by store.
I know you guys do too, okay? I love the summer I love it so, so much. I need us to get to the football season. The preseason, I just can't anymore. I have to go into this fantasy draft tomorrow morning and try to piece it together in a draft that has traditionally become an absolute nightmare for me over the last several years, in that something has always gone wrong, and it usually happens very early in the season. So we're doing that in the 2 weeks out from the start of the season. That's a problem, because I know whoever I take in the first round is going to get hurt immediately. That's number one. Number two, with how the regular season for the Yankees is playing out down the stretch, I now can only focus on what it's going to look like once we get to the playoffs. I can't focus on anything else beyond that. It is very much like the Knicks season over the last 2 months of the regular year. That's been a problem, because when you think back to that, it was, well, we know they're going to be the third seed, and now we're just biding our time until we get there. I feel the exact same way about the Yankees. Still got a month left. Got 2 more weeks till this. Comments in the chat, Jersey Pride, can Cam Schlittler win the AL Cy Young this year? I mean, I guess, yeah, he could, but that doesn't have my interest. Does it really have your interest right now? For the rest of the season, are you fired up to figure that out? That doesn't do it for me right now. It really doesn't. I need the football season, man. I need that first Sunday. I need it to come. And what's interesting is that, for me, at least personally, okay, very, very fortunate to call games on ESPN radio as part of our NFL coverage. I adore it. I love it. It's so much fun. That first weekend of the NFL season, Rutgers plays Friday night at Boston College, and then I'm hopping on a plane Saturday morning and going to Vegas for Miami and the Raiders. And you might think, well, those are 2 not-so-great teams. Well, here's what I know. It's week 1, and it's going to be an entertaining game, and more people are watching and listening in week 1 to all the games. People still have hope then. They haven't had their entire season already thrown down the tubes. So you can have interest there. I get to see Kansas City in week 3. I'm very much looking forward to that. I need to get there. I love the summer. I feel like I haven't enjoyed enough of the summer. I haven't gotten out and done enough things. We've had a lot going on, but I haven't gotten out and done enough things. I don't want to rush the summer. I heard somebody say once, don't wish the time away, because time is the only bit of currency that we have that cannot be replaced in any way. Kevin Durant would have been a lot more believable to, start getting into that kind of a discussion, as opposed to when he was asked about the $100 million that Jalen Brunson gave up. I wouldn't give up $100 million. Oh, no, really. Time's our only currency. I don't want to wish time away, but oh my God, I need to get there. In terms of sports, this last week and a half of the summer, with bad preseason football, waiting for cuts, it's week 0 in the college football. Am I getting fired up tomorrow for UNC TCU? I'm sorry. Woo! I'm trying. I can't. In Ireland, I can't. I can't watch Belichick on the sideline anymore with just a horrible football team that he's coaching. TCU, am I interested in that? Boy, I can't wait to see how my brethren, the Irish, my homeland, how they take to Belichick and TCU. That's the matchup that you want over across the pond in the Emerald Isle. Oh, my God. Week 0? No. Next Thursday, I get the start of the college football season with Rutgers. I'm excited for that. But the NFL, man, it has gotten to the point where it's harder and harder and harder to think about the dead times in the year because the league has taken over so much with the draft, with free agency, with all of it, with the schedule release. It has taken over so much. Yet here we sit at the end of training camp. And if you're like me, you just need to get there. You just need to get there. Joel in Texas, Chris, did you address the U Stadium tweet? The U Stadium tweet was something from Twitter, U Stadium being an outlet, I guess some sort of a media outlet that had clipped off part of the discussion the other day from Cade Klubnik and how I believe that by midseason he will be the Jets quarterback, not just because, the Jets season might get out of hand, but actually he may give the Jets the better chance to win than Geno Smith. I said that there are people in the building at the Jets facility who believe Cade Klubnik will be the quarterback by the middle of the year. Yeah, then no, that's accurate. I said that. So whatever there is to address about it, that's, as far as I know, from the people I've spoken to, unless they're lying to me over there, which don't have any reason to really believe that. Yeah, no, there are people who think that. Does anybody expect the Jets to be a playoff team this year? No. Does anybody expect Geno Smith, who they have called themselves, the 1 year plan? We're not committed to him long term. Let's see what happens. Geno Smith, they understand, is a placeholder for right now. And they're very high on Cade Klubnik, and you hear positive things about Cade Klubnik. So I will be interested to watch him some more tonight. But I'm the one who personally believes that the reason Klubnik will be playing is that he will actually give the Jets a better chance to win than Geno Smith. The people in the building who I spoke to just said they think he'll be playing. They didn't say why. And it's more likely why, because they are not having a great season, and you may as well find out what you have, especially when you have 3 first-round picks next year that you may not even necessarily need to draft a quarterback. So in terms of addressing it, that's how I would address it. I back off nothing I said, and I fear no repercussions of anything. That's me. Carlin, ESPN New York, 800-919-3776. Last opportunity to get through, and you can also get through on the ESPN New York YouTube chat. I was just thinking about something with the Jets and Giants game and just how utterly absurd it was when this happened. We'll discuss next on ESPN New York.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Well, something troubling happened. Jordan, I think he thought he was paying me a compliment.
Right. And I'm self-aware enough to know that it probably wasn't a compliment.
Jordan goes, well, how old are you? I said, I'm 36. He goes, oh, which is either good or very bad. I was like, how old did you think I was? And he goes, I actually thought you were much closer to my age. Jordan's 11 years older than me.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
You gotta like that I'm honest, though.
Yeah.
No pandering.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, commitment issues? No problem. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever, as in for life. Switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, you may experience slower speeds. Pay $25 a month as long as you stay on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Hey! My dad is bringing home the best birthday cake ever!
It was my 5th birthday, and my dad was bringing home the cake.
Should have been here a half hour ago.
The cake never made it, and neither did my dad.
911, what's your emergency?
That was the day a drunk driver killed my dad.
Daddy?
Impaired drivers take lives. Think.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. Aired in cooperation with the New York State Broadcasters Association.
Summer isn't over yet. On Saturday, August 29th, the Red Bulls face the Philadelphia Union at Sports Illustrated Stadium for Anime Night, presented by New Jersey Lottery. Arrive early for the Boulevard at 4 p.m. for food trucks, games, family fun, and a free matchday poster while supplies last. When gates open, fans can grab one of 10,000 UGO card packs. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Bring your crew and make it a night to remember. Get tickets at NewYorkRedBulls.com.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering buy one, get one, 40% off windows and doors, and no payments, no interest for 24 months. Some restrictions may apply. See local showroom for details. Offer ends August 31st, 2026. Rich Eisen here with some advice. If high-interest credit card debt is grinding you down, it might be time to call an audible with a SoFi personal loan. It consolidates your debt into one low monthly payment with no fees required. And with as soon as the same-day funding, you can make the right play fast. Call an audible on your debt today at SoFi.com/debtplay. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891. Fast funds terms apply at SoFi.com/debtplay.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Carlin, ESPN New York YouTube channel, 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN, what you're looking for tonight with the Yankees and Red Sox, and more specifically, do you feel like anything that happens this weekend has a direct role in how the Yankees would match up with the Red Sox come the postseason, since this is the last time you would see them before the playoffs? 800-919-3776. All right, some of the comments. Let's get to them. First of all, a lot of people really not happy with me regarding the Richard situation. Eitan Tomlinson, Carlin is cold as ice when it comes to Richard, cutting him loose. Here's the thing. It's not necessarily being cold as ice. As I see some other comments here, like you're not being fair to Richard, all that kind of thing. Here's what I'd say about this, guys. I love Richard to death. I really do. I think we indulge Richard quite a bit, and there's an entertainment factor to Richard. But I would, every once in a while, like to have a discussion with him that's actually a two-way discussion. You just cannot get him to stop. He is steamrolling the way he talks through anything, not listening to a word. It's as if he turns the volume down on the phone in listening to what you are saying and just goes. and I love him to death for it. Richard is absolutely what you would call a character. QMC... Q McQuackers. I wish I was as confident as Richard. We should all wish that we were as confident as Richard. Richard is a good kind of crazy. That from Tommy Rangel. Yeah, but do you want the good kind of crazy to be your dentist? Like, let me just put it this way. If you sat down in the dentist chair and the guy started talking like Richard, would it be enough for you to actually get up and leave? I want you to think about that for a minute. Joe Leo, I'm going to put this question to you because you seem like you're a relatively level-headed guy. If you've never met your dentist before, you've just moved somewhere, you need a new dentist. And you sit down in the chair, you shake the guy's hand, and he says hello, and then he starts talking like Richard does. Are you actually going to have the guts to get up and leave?
There is not enough laughing gas or Novocaine on the planet for me to sit through that appointment.
But even if you didn't know anything else about him, he just started plowing through how he talks. If you knew nothing about him, but just the way he started talking, would you get up?
Yes, I would.
Give an accurate answer when I ask you that.
I would get up.
Only because it's the dentist would I get up. There are other instances where I would go ahead and suffer the consequences of that situation. But because it's the dentist, I can't have somebody poking and prodding in my mouth talking like that. And I'm sure he's a great dentist. I'm just saying on a personal level, you really have to push me to be able to get up and walk out of an appointment for anything. That would push me to that end. It absolutely would. A couple of the other comments here coming in on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Again, question everything. Carlin, so rude. Richard was onto something there. Exactly. What was he onto? Please tell me what he was onto. I don't know. Snoopy, Bull tonight. Kyle Young. This is what kind of triggered the memory for me. We actually remember when in the Snoopy Bowl, because somehow he thought there was some relevance to it, Rex put Mark Sanchez back in the game and he got hurt. That really happened. Think about now where, and we don't complain about it with the preseason. I think the only instance under which I would complain about it is if I was a season ticket holder and I'm paying the same price for the preseason games as I am for the regular season games. And that's the football I have to watch. And I only get to see the starters for a series or two. Think about that for a second. That Rex Ryan actually put Mark Sanchez back in the game against the Giants in the preseason. And just how utterly stupid that was. And I love listening to Rex. I don't know that Rex particularly, not that he really knows fully on who I am, but there have been a couple of times I've certainly gotten an indication that he had an idea of how critical I used to be of him. But the one time that I could ever say that I would have sided with Manish on anything was that was a fireable offense at the time. Rex playing Sanchez behind the third string offensive line in the fourth quarter to try to win the Snoopy Bowl. Another fan points out the Jason Sehorn injury. That's just bad luck. That was the opening kickoff of that game, and they were just starting to have Sehorn return kicks, if memory serves. 800-919-3776. Continue to get as many of your calls in as we can over the last few minutes until the Caser at the top of the hour, who's got a nice preview with Yankees-Red Sox with Lou Merloni coming up on his show. Jose is in Austin, and he is on ESPN New York. Jose, how you doing, brother? What's up?
Good afternoon, Chris. Happy to get back in line with you, man. How's everything?
Let's go. What do we got?
So my whole premise is I'd rather go 7-7 with Klubnik instead of Gino, because if we're at 7-7 with Gino, he's having a bad year. Looking at the schedule really quick, I can see the Jets, and I know it's half glass, half filled, but I can see them going 3-3 in their first 6 if we beat the Titans. If we lose to the Titans, then it's definitely just game over. That's the main point.
You think if they lose to the Titans, forget it?
I mean, because then what are the expectations, right? That's a team that, I mean, they look at us like they should be able to beat us, but we should as well if everything's going to plan. And if Gino's playing well, I don't see why not. I don't really fear the Titans offense per se. And so if we're struggling to beat them, or it's just one of those slobber knockers, yeah, look, because I think we can beat the Packers with possibly no Josh Jacobs and no Micah. And I think Jordan Love's a little overrated. I was an early fan of him. I saw him in his rookie year in the playoffs. He threw that dumb ball, and I don't think he's grown as much as he should by this year. And so I think that's a game to be had at home opener, all that good stuff.
Well, listen, I get it. I appreciate the call, Jose. A couple of things there. Number one, it's going to depend on how it looks, and it's going to have to look very, 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 very bad for me to think that the season is shot to hell if you lose to the Titans out of the gate. Now, we often talk about the importance of beating the teams that you're supposed to. And we often talk about how the Jets, frankly, just have not done that enough, and they end up losing games that they shouldn't along the way. And that ends up being the way that they shoot themselves in the foot more than anything else. And this is a year, if ever there was a year, with the Jets schedule as it is, with the Titans, with the Miami Dolphins twice, with Arizona, with the Raiders, with those 4 teams and 5 games, that's 5 games the Jets should win. And I will be disappointed if they do not win them. Those 5 games are the very reason that right now I'm very much considering betting the Jets over 5.5 wins. Very much considering that. Primarily because I know what was bad last year. I know what it looked like. And I know that Aaron Glenn does not have any of your faith at all at the moment, and it's completely understandable why he wouldn't. Those teams, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Titans, we just took you through all of them. Those were 4 of the 5 most unwatchable teams for the upcoming season that Ben Solak ranked yesterday on ESPN.com. The Jets were well ahead of, they were like a 25th. I mean, they had the Jets more watchable than the Steelers and 1 or 2 others. But think about that. Those 4 teams, basically from 32 up, were the most unwatchable teams by ranking from Ben Solak yesterday, what he anticipates for this year. The Jets have to win those games. Have to. And then we talk about the rest of the schedule and their ability to win 2 or 3 more. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But as I said the other day, I know what this can look like. The Giants could actually win 7 games and the Jets could win 8. And you'd say that the Giants were the better team because the Giants, or at least might feel like the better team because the Giants had the tougher schedule to deal with. All of that is accurate. But for both of these teams at this point, the double-digit losses, I can't start looking for silver linings anymore. Enough with the silver linings. It has to be about what actually is tangible proof of getting better. I don't think that's too much to ask. Asking these 2 teams this season, although I think it's much harder for the Giants to do than the Jets, to win 8 games is not out of left field and completely unfair. It's not. It's completely fair. Please don't talk to me about losing to the Titans in week 1 and then it's over. I was saying to somebody yesterday, you can be bad. You cannot be bad and boring. Do not be bad and boring. That'll do it for me. The Caster is on his way next we're inching closer and closer to the start of the real NFL season. Michael is up next. He's getting you ready for Yankees-Red Sox this weekend. And then, of course, Don Hahn and Rosenberg later this afternoon on ESPN New York and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. This summer, I made a decision. Instead of just living with my pain, I wanted to find out what was actually causing it. That's why I went to see Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. What I liked right away was his approach. He takes the time to understand what's going on and builds a treatment plan that's right for you without jumping straight to surgery. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, or joint pain, it's worth having the conversation. With offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, getting care is convenient no matter where you are. Go to samwellpain.com to learn more or schedule an appointment.
When you manage an active facility, disruption is not an option. Tricon Construction specializes in healthcare, commercial, and industrial environments where work needs to happen without shutting operations down. That takes detailed planning, clear communication, and safe, disciplined execution. Because when patients are inside, tenants are working, or production has to keep moving, every decision matters. Tricon understands how to work around your business professionally, safely, and efficiently. For complex work inside active facilities, choose Tricon Construction.